It's entertainment time here at the hangout.
I'm just trying to bring a little culture to the group. It could totally use a friendly hangout. So,
Yep, back in the day, baby.
it's the culture, Daryl. Good hangout.
Whatever.
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Hangout Culture Podcast. We're so happy you're spending some time with us today. I'm James. Nice, dude. To my left, we have the distinguished drinker of dark ale, the Akron ABV Avenger, the dude that does not abide, Daisy Allendale, if you're nasty. My buzzing cousin, David Murrin, to my left. Over there to the right, we have the 2025 Podcast Producer of the Year, the tallest tree in Tennessee, or Tiny Tiramisu. I know him as the Toledo Torpedo. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your Tom, the Floor Tom Crane.
Welcome back, everybody.
All right, yeah, we need cheering after that. Okay.
Oh, that's great.
All right, so welcome back to another episode. We're at 1,000 subscribers, so I want to thank all the new subscribers and remind people out there, if you enjoyed this podcast, if you want to help support this podcast, the best way of doing that is being one of those thousands of people. I guess right now I've had thousands that have subscribed. We really appreciate it. We appreciate all the support and comment and likes and all this stuff. It really means a lot to us. So thank you guys who have subscribed recently, and if you haven't, please subscribe right now. And we're here every Wednesday to entertain you guys and to hang out. And I know we did a lot of hanging out before this podcast, and we have a lot of cool stuff to talk about. So thank you, and please subscribe. So. Yeah. All right, let's get into it. I brought the beers for this hangout, as you do. I brought Lime Feeling Good because I'm feeling cold because it's snowing, and I want to feel like it's summer. I want a summer drink. I want something that goes down easy, that's nice, that's not dark. You know what I'm saying, David?
I do. I actually was picking out some beers over the weekend, and they were all light. I wanted something that would remind me of hotter days. So I'm actually right there with you.
If you're drinking light beer, then you must be feeling the winter blues because it's snowing. It's almost April, and I don't know. I'm just kind of over it. So,
but
it
was 80 yesterday. Yeah, it was a nice day
and
yesterday
it's 30,
for us.
It's 30 degrees today.
Yeah, with snow coming down currently
right now.
Quite incredible. Well, it's funny because like a winter ale is a beer style that's meant to be enjoyed in the winter to like handle the blues that typically is a higher ABV. So it's funny as you get to like the tail end of the winter, you're like, I don't want the high ABV dark beer anymore. Like I'm ready to get to summer.
I've already been depressed and I want to be undepressed. Yes. I've enjoyed the depression. Yes. I can get into it. I can vibe with depression sometimes, but I just want to be lifted out of it. So this is, it says on the top, the Mighty Lime Cerveza. Lime Feeling Good by Fatheads Brewery. Again, we did Fatheads before. It started in Pittsburgh, but really made its roots, I think, in Ohio, specifically North Olmsted. Very close to me. It's a great brewery. This is a Mexican-style lager. So the last time we tried a Mexican-style lager was Dogfish Head, and it was like a lime, it was supposed to be like a lime cerveza or lime lager, but it was, remember that? It was sour. It felt like, it tasted like I was drinking like a salted margarita.
Yeah, absolutely. And this, you should think of it as like a Corona with the lime already in it. Like that's kind of what I'm thinking this should taste like. So I'm excited to see if it's...
Yeah, but when we had that Dogfish Head, it just tasted so salty and sour. So that's what it looks like poured out, ladies and gentlemen.
Very, very clear, crispy. I'm excited. Cheers.
Cheers, boys.
That was my first thought, was that Dogfish Head. And I just remembered how kind of sour that was. So that was my immediate thought. So I'm excited.
Right away, this is not that. This is not that. This tastes... I've never had this before. I didn't preface that. I've never had this. It just kind of jumped out on the shelf to me. And I really enjoy this too. I really enjoy this one.
A 4.9 ABV, so it's definitely one of those like crushable lagers meant to be enjoyed over the course of the day. You can have multiple and not ever get like too drunk.
Not too limey at all either. No. Not too sour, not too limey, but I do taste it in the background for sure. Like I get the lime, but it's mostly like a crispier, lighter beer. I like it.
Yeah, I think it's lime forward, but it doesn't linger. Like the
Oh,
lime, you're not
yeah.
left with lime.
I don't
which
even
is
think
good.
it's forward, but I think it's in
I
there.
get a lot of
It's in the
lime
mix.
on like the front of the tongue, but when it comes to like the overall taste, like right now I don't taste any more lime, I just taste beer. So that actually does add some points. I'm not a huge fan of lime. Like I'm okay with some lime. I like it as like a topper, but if I go to a restaurant and get lemon or geez Louise, if I get a water and they ask if I want lemon in it, like I'm not taking the lemon. I'm not taking the lime with water. Like it's just not my thing. But no, I actually think this is pretty good.
I like it. What do you think, Tom? I think you'd like this one too.
Well, I made a weird decision, and I just finished eating mint Tic Tacs before I tried this.
So how is it with a mint Tic Tac?
I mean, it's okay.
You'll give your score last, so your taste buds can adjust.
Let me keep saturating for a
Okay, keep
minute.
saturating it. I'm literally gonna rip off another score, dude. I'm pretty confident with this score. It might seem weird because it's the same score I gave last time or 2 weeks ago, but I'm gonna give it a 9. I'm gonna give it.
Wow.
I think it jumps.
This is
past
worthy of the
eights
nines.
in the, yeah, 9.0. So
Wow.
what was the other beer I gave a 9 to?
So
What
it's
was
as
that?
good as that nice pear from Missing
Yes,
Falls.
thank you.
Yes.
The pear citrus from Missing Falls. That was really good.
Wow.
But also, Fathead scored high last time we had it because we had their bumbleberry.
Yes.
So I brought that as well.
Yeah.
And you put blueberries in that, and it all scored like in the high 8s, I think.
They're
But I
doing
think this
really
is
well.
better.
They're doing really well on the show. Like
Yeah.
their beers have ranked high. I forgot about the bumbleberry actually, because that got a high score for me. Even I think that this beer it's very good. It's refreshing. I feel like I could definitely have a couple over the course of like a hot summer day. It's crisp. It's a little lime forward, at least for me, on the front of the tongue,
Okay.
and then kind of dissipates. So I like it, but I can't say it's the most well balanced for that. So with that, I will give it still a solid 8.2.
Okay.
It's still up there. Like I still would definitely drink this, but I can't give it the 9. The 9s are reserved for like almost
See,
perfect. for
when
me.
I'm at a 9, when I see it on a menu out to eat, it's almost auto pull the trigger. You know what I
Okay,
mean? Like if I
sure.
saw this out to eat at a menu, like if I wasn't at Fatheads, obviously,
Sure,
and they
sure,
had
yeah,
Fatheads
yeah.
this, and it was like a summer outside, ripping it off.
So is this the number one for you so far then, pretty much?
This ties with that pear
Yeah.
drink that you brought.
Okay,
Because those
tied,
are both,
yeah.
if I saw it on the menu, it's an auto rip. Like Bumbleberry was in the mid 8s, so I would, if it's on the menu, I would think about it, getting it. But yeah, I would definitely get this on, like,
Nice.
summer night, if I'm just outside at a restaurant, for sure.
Yeah, I'm surprised. The pear one, I think that was probably one of my favorite beers of all time. So it's a little skewed for me. I'm more kind of with David on this
Really?
as far as some of his thoughts, where it's like a little lime. I like a Corona every once in a while. I think it's good for grilling. I know this would probably make her top 10 list, I think, with hers. So it is good. I enjoy it, and I would drink it again. But I'd probably go about 7.
Okay.
7.0 for
I
you.
thought it'd score a little bit higher with you, but okay, I'm learning everyone's palate. Again, comment below.
Yeah, if you've ever had this beer, what's your rating?
Well, I was gonna say Tom's beard or no beard for Tom. I like no beard. I vote no beard,
Oh, I vote beard.
but I love you either way. That's the good part.
I vote beer.
You vote beard too. All right, so no beard. David, you're the tiebreaker. Beard.
for sure. I'm never gonna vote no beard. Come on.
Well, that's true, I guess. Like I would never vote no mustache. I think it's always Tom. Do a mustache. Ooh, I'm trying to picture it. I like it.
There's no way.
I got pictures of my
no
dad
way.
as a kid. I could show you those, and that's what I would look like.
Oh man, I don't know if
can't.
my dad ever rocked a mustache. It was either just like beard in the winter or nothing. I think with my dad.
I can't even think of your dad with a beard.
Yeah, he had a beard in the winter
I
when
don't
he was
remember.
younger. Yeah.
Maybe when he's younger. I don't remember him like ever. Recently, at least, for sure, having a beard. That's a fun thought.
Yeah.
My dad had like the longer kind of side hair, nothing on the top.
That is my dad currently.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's been your dad since I've known him, I think.
No, not
dad's
that, not that
30.
long though. Just a little puffy. Just a little
Okay.
puffy.
Okay.
So, and he had a mustache, and then he had those glasses. This was the late '80s, but we always kind of joked because he looked older then than he did when he was in his 50s, and
Yeah.
it was just kind of weird because they say that with a lot of like, you look at NBA players in the '80s, like Clyde Drexler's kind of one of those where he looks like he's 45 but he's 28 years old, and it's just kind of weird how that worked.
Yeah, some people age really quick and then they stop aging for like 50 years. You know what I mean? So it's like you kind of feel bad for them for a second, but then you're like, oh, you're just gonna stay this way until I catch up and surpass whatever you've hit. I feel like I'm kind of like that way. Like I might look like this till like I'm 50 or 60 because I'm like, I don't know. I got salt and pepper pretty early, and gray beard.
Does it run in the family at all? Like, I know your dad is bald, but did he have gray hair early in life? Or no, I guess your hair traits come from your mother.
We should have the same one.
Yeah.
We should have the same
we've done
one.
this before.
Yeah,
it is not always from your mom.
Right.
Yeah, because if it was from your mom's dad, we would have the same.
Yeah, and
grandpa.
we discovered that it's just from your mom. Is that what you said, Tom?
Oh, if it was from your mom's, I would still have a full head of great hair.
I understand what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah.
We all like defy that.
Yeah, or at least I'm an anomaly. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, we had an uncle with a full head of hair,
Yeah.
So I was like, that bodes
Yeah.
well, but I guess nothing really panned out.
No, obviously. No, it didn't. I gave up.
Obviously, we gave up.
Oh man. So it's been a week, right? Since we've shot. I think we have some updates. Anybody want to go first? Tom, do you want to go first?
Let's do it.
Yeah,
I like hearing your
Let's go,
updates.
Tom.
So,
I'm more interested in your updates. So
okay.
Oh, then mine. No, thanks.
Thanks
so much.
Tom shaved his beard, so that like wins updates.
Well,
for the time
yeah,
being.
that made the last one. No, I think the big thing for me was enjoying the weather yesterday. I had Hudson and Trent, and we went out and we ended up going to Hartville. He loves vintage stuff, which is stuff I grew up wearing. And so there's a cool shop out there called the Corduroy Cat. They just moved into a new, bigger location, so he wanted to go check that out. And so we spent some time there. And I've never been to the Akron skate park.
Okay.
So
Wow.
he has, Trent skateboard there and all that type of stuff. So me, Hudson, and Trent, we were there, and there was no one other person there. So we just kind of used it as our own little photo shoot area, and
Nice.
had a little fun with that. Because photography is something that I haven't picked up the camera in a while for fun. So I've been trying to force myself to do things to bring it with me, just to try to hopefully get some of that spark back. So it was fun, just with all the graffiti at the skate park and doing all that, and then we just spent the day outside walking around, having a blast, and enjoying some good weather. You get stir crazy. We're talking about the doldrums of winter, where it feels like it's just dragging and dragging.
Mm-hmm.
So it's any chance you have to go outside and walk and be in nature's. We're trying to take advantage of it.
Nice.
Yeah, I think I saw a picture that you may have posted on Facebook or Instagram of the three of you looking like ballers.
Oh yeah, we're badass.
Yeah.
We'll post them all right here.
Yeah, we're showing these pictures.
Well, and then it was funny too because we were gonna go visit my sister, and there's a park by her house, and we went, and it was just filled with people. There was way more people than I wanted to be around. But Hudson wanted to go, and he just kind of hopped on a seesaw with another family. They kind of left, so then me and him were on there, and I can send a picture because it's kind of funny because I'm stuck in this thing, and I look up, and then there's an old coworker randomly, so it's oh hey, how are you? And I'm stuck in this seesaw.
My life's going well, thank you. I'm doing a lot better.
Yeah, so it was a lot of fun.
Was it an ex-coworker?
Yeah.
Is that skate park? Is the BMX track still by the skate park?
Yep.
Okay, because I used to BMX there with my buddy in grade school. We thought we were so
Okay.
badass, but until we got there, we were the only people riding mountain bikes. Go figure.
Yeah.
So we're looking around. We're we're oh man, what gear do you think we should be in?
Because everybody was supposed to have the Huffy or the Dino.
And red line.
yeah.
Eventually we got one.
I remember getting my first bike that had pegs on it from
Oh, yeah.
Walmart, and I
Yeah.
was oh, I'm so cool, and I wasn't grinding anything on that bike. There was nothing for me to grind on that bike.
I had a
it was
black
totally
red
just
line
for looks.
and I found a peg because I would ride my bike all the time all over the neighborhood, and I randomly found a really rusted out old peg just one metal rusted out peg on the side of the road. I'm like, I was so excited to go home, and I was like looking through my dad's tools, and I put it on, and I had one little rusted peg on my bike for the longest time. It was so stupid, but it was enough for someone could ride on the back at least. That's about all I did with it. But
See, I rode my bike all the time. Like we lived in the metro parks up in Mayfield, so we had the bike path. We can ride for hours, and me and my buddy, we would just go and be gone. Mm-hmm. And I always wanted the stunt bike, like all the cool kids had. And my dad always said, he's like, no, we're going to get you a mountain bike.
No, Dad, you're lame.
But it worked out because I was using, I would have hated doing that down the trails and all the paths.
Oh, it's tough.
Doing.
Yeah, you don't want to ride that anywhere else but a BMX track.
Yeah, and then I, ended up riding it for to work for the longest time because I lived close enough that I could do that until it got stolen from the parking lot. But, it was another time that my dad was right.
My bike got stolen too out of my old house in Akron. It got stolen straight out of our garage.
That's crazy.
God bless.
See, I remember having the Walmart version of the BMX bike. Do you guys remember the brand Mongoose?
That was an okay brand. I don't think that
yeah,
was
that's not. Is that the Walmart? Because that was like
they sold red lines at Walmart. Yeah, they sold all those brands at Walmart.
So it's like Shaq Shoes or
I guess
some of those
maybe.
other brands that start off like cool and then end up at Walmart.
Right. But see, I remember having the bike, and what I did, you found a rusty peg, and I had a couple pegs to make myself feel cool, but I remember taking old Pokemon cards and taping them to the frame of the wheel well to where they would hit the spokes and sound like a motorcycle.
People did that with baseball cards back in the day.
Oh, man. That was my favorite. I doubled them up and tried to make mine as loud as I possibly could. That's my
the foil
childhood
Charizard made your bike
memory
the
of that.
loudest. The original foil
funny.
Charizard.
Lesions.
Mongoose. Yeah, these look pretty cool still. $300, $250.
I definitely did not spend $300.
Yeah,
on the bike.
these prices.
I think mine was
have gone up a
$89.
These look cool. The tires look big. Are these
Those
BMX
ones
bikes?
do. Or
These tires look like off-road type, but they still look
I
like
don't know.
BMX bikes.
They're
but
almost
with
like
big
a
wheels.
hybrid.
Yeah,
Yeah, and with the brand Mongoose, I feel like part of it was dirt riding as well.
I don't know anything about BMX. See, that guy's super cool. Actually, I got a
love
picture very
Dave
similar to
Mirra.
that. If I
Dave
could
Mirra's
find it.
massive.
'Cause
I remember
he's-
playing the Dave Mirra game. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
No, go ahead.
Oh, I actually went when I was living 2 houses before this one. I went to the Akron skate park too just to take pictures because I really wanted to. And there was that picture actually reminded me of it. I think it was on a bike, but he was going over almost the exact same angle as that. So if there was people actually shredding and doing skating pretty well and stuff, you could get some sick pictures. It kind of sucks that there's no one there.
Well, and I did photos, and there's a kid from Akron. It might be the same kid. I don't know. Vinny DeVera, I believe, is his name. And
Vinny DeVera?
He, sure.
I don't know.
See?
I was like, James doesn't know who that is.
But back in 2015, I had a buddy Corey, and we went because he did BMX. So we went and he was doing some stunt stuff, and then we went to Ray's mountain bike park in Cleveland, and they were doing flips, and so we shot a video for them and everything. And now I see videos he's doing, and he's just doing the most crazy stuff.
He's
you
probably
imagine.
is popular. People are probably gonna hate me. This guy is an asshole. Don't stain his name.
See, I remember names like Dave Mirra, for sure. Oh my gosh, I just had a name in my head, Ryan something, but I can't.
Ryan Scheckler.
Ryan Scheckler, but he was
Skateboarding.
skateboarding. There was a couple other BMXers. Nagy comes to mind.
You just say that.
Nagy was his last name.
All right. Well, yeah, he almost has 5,000 followers. Vinny DeVera.
Very cool. Shout out Vinny DeVera.
Yeah, he's doing all these backflips and stuff. It's pretty cool. Dang, he's getting so much air. I'm sure he's great.
Gosh.
That's Akron.
I could just never when you guys were younger, I mean maybe even still, but jumping on a trampoline, how people would do backflips.
Mm-hmm.
I could never get my body to be okay with going backwards.
I could never dive. I could never even get myself to dive.
Really? See, I
Yeah.
could do forward. I remember
Oh, no.
growing up, my childhood home, there was a hill in the front yard, And I was able to like, at first I had like this inflatable pool that we filled with water, and I was trying to do a front flip on or into it. And in the front yard we had a hill, so like, and then I went out to the front yard and I did a front flip, and I was like, oh, that's so cool. I couldn't do a backflip on a trampoline, off of a diving board, or anything. I just can't get my body to do that way.
At least you can do one flip. Tom, can you do flips?
I don't think I've ever attempted a backflip. I know we had a trampoline, and so I always tried front flips, and I never could successfully land one. I would usually like land on my knees or on my face.
Yeah. Okay, so I could not like just do a front flip. Like I did this
right, on a trampoline you can. Right?
I don't think I ever even tried on a trampoline. Like I didn't grow up with a trampoline. Like I did this on like in my front yard trying to do a front flip because I got one afternoon in the backyard in summer. We had a pool that had water in it. So I was like, I wonder if I can do a front flip, and then landed on my butt. And I was like, oh, that was kind of close. Like if I can just get my heels under me.
But you can dive though, right?
I can dive.
You can dive too.
Dove into pools.
I can't. I swim a lot, but I can't.
Oh, that's funny. I haven't thought about that in a long time. That's great. I love this podcast for that. A lot of things I don't think about just for a long time.
But we have a lot of topics. We were just like talking, and we were just talking about a whole bunch of interesting things. And we kind of broke it down into topics. Well, we're still doing updates, right?
Well, yeah, I was going to say one more thing.
Yeah.
As far as updates is, I've been kind of, we've been talking about the movie list, and I've been kind of going off of that movie list. And so I've kind of been showing the kids the nostalgic ones. So we watched Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Love that.
Love it, yeah.
He loved that. And then we went out to eat. And this is, I completely forgot about this, but this makes me laugh so hard. Because we went out to eat, and we're sitting there waiting for our food. And all of a sudden a song comes on, and Hudson gets all excited. And Trent is like, oh, Hudson, where's this from? And we're thinking, oh, it's I'm Bad, Michael Jackson. So it's from Megamind, one of our favorite cartoons. And then it's the Weird Al version, I'm Fat, which I talked about how Hudson's been obsessed with Weird Al. So he's like in the restaurant just sitting there singing I'm fat. And like the only lines he knows. But just the fact that like we randomly were in a restaurant when they're playing Weird Al, I'm Fat. And the 5-year-old knows that song and gets excited. It was kind of one of those make your day moments.
That's funny.
You brought up Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I remember seeing that not live action, but it was a ride or something in Disney or whatever. And I remember because they have like a lot of things that to make you feel like you're actually like small or you're in the what was happening on screen.
Yeah,
it was like a very And I remember there was like mice that were supposed to be running around like in your feet, and they would like spray air on your ankles.
Yes.
And I remember I hopped up like, oh, what the like that. I was just like, oh my God. It was just like when a dog sneezed or something, they sprayed you with water or something like that, and you just had no idea what was coming.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, I remember that freaked me out. I remember I like didn't trust like rides for the longest time after that because I'm like, what are they gonna do?
I think that I actually have a very similar, like in the same ride. Like I think I may have been in the same like virtual reality, but you're in a seat and like the whole platform can change. Like I think I remember doing like not Avatar, but I don't know what it would have been at the time.
I think they have an Avatar or something like that too. But
it was something a long time ago, but it was like you were flying, and so like the whole platform moved with it. So maybe it was a Star Wars simulator, but it's so cool. Yeah, I love those.
I didn't like all my senses being messed with while I was watching something. It felt too real. It scared me.
They had a Pirates one at SeaWorld, so it was similar to that, and it was that same thing. There was a time a pirate like did like a spit take, and then so it sprayed a mist of water.
Yeah.
Like
it's like, what even is this water? Like, where'd you guys get this liquid that's on now on my face? You know what I mean? Like, maybe I'm just like a germaphobe or something and didn't like that. All right, Tom, is that it?
Yeah, I didn't know if since I brought up movies, I didn't know if we wanted to discuss
David not seeing Dazed and Confused.
Dazed and Confused, which you'd be a lot cooler if you did.
Yes,
we'll discuss it when you watch it.
I would be a lot cooler if I did. I'm assuming that's a reference.
Maybe we'll spin the wheel at the end and maybe pick another one. But I like Dazed and Confused is a good one.
Yeah, there's some good ones. And so I do have a couple factoids. Since you didn't watch it, I mean, we'll just talk about some facts. So I thought it was kind of funny because it was such like a popular movie for actors and actresses at that time to like audition, that one of the people who auditioned was Jared Leto. So I thought you would find that pretty interesting.
I do find that interesting.
Yeah, and even like Sarah.
When was Dazed and Confused released?
94. So it's
Jared Leto was almost in that, really.
Yeah,
I didn't know his
yeah.
career started that early.
Yeah,
I
he
thought
was
30 Seconds
around before 30 Seconds to Mars and stuff like
really?
that. So
I'm unfamiliar with his pre 30 Seconds to Mars. I thought 30 Seconds to Mars was his like rise to fame.
no, and I could look it up, but that's why he kind of like had hey, he's an actor trying. I think he kind of like went back and forth, but then he kind of got big and then went to 30 Seconds to Mars, and that's when like The Kill and stuff came out.
Yeah.
So then that's when they're like, oh, it's an actor trying to be a musician, and it really wasn't. But
That's
have no idea what you're talking
I
about.
only knew him as a musician.
yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting.
Man, 30 Seconds to Mars is great. You should check them out. They've
They've got some pretty
really,
good
really
stuff.
good music.
Yeah, I've heard of them. I just don't know the guy you're talking about.
Jared
the movie
Leto.
you're talking about.
He was
Or
the Joker in Suicide Squad. In
Yeah.
the movie he played.
He was in
I'm trying to
Requiem
think
for
of
a
other
Dream.
Requiem for a Dream. Yeah. What are some other movies he was in for James to reference? Because I think you would recognize his face if you saw it.
Probably. I'm not good
But-
with actors' names and
He's good.
specifically actors' names.
He's been
actresses.
up for a couple big roles here of late.
He sort of looks familiar.
Yeah, he can be a goofball.
Yeah, I didn't realize
eyes,
he was
though.
54. My
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, it happens quick.
Gee.
But then they one of the other things was this is like the Matthew McConaughey's breakout was in this.
Okay.
And one of his famous quotes is, he says, the thing about high school girls is I keep getting older and they stay the same age. So like it's kind of become a problematic whole thing. But what's interesting is in that movie, he was a film student at University of Texas. And so he was playing an older guy, but was actually in real life younger than some of the people playing the high school kids. So it was
that's
kind of that weird
interesting.
thing about talking about younger girls, but he was really younger than some of those girls he was talking about.
That's interesting.
All right. That's for you, Noah.
That's funny. Well, I only really have one thing for my update.
All right, I guess I'm going last again. Nope, cool.
No. Well, this is because it really does piggyback on your
That's right.
restaurant experience. So I made a road trip this weekend to visit my grandfather in Pennsylvania and met up with my aunt and uncle that live out there, and we went to dinner one night at a place called the Bourbon Mill. And we went there. It's a new place that opened up out there, and their claim to fame is just having like a bourbon wall. And we went during happy hour to where all their bourbon pours were half off. So we were like, oh, hell yeah. Like, let's get an old fashioned and then we'll get a bourbon pour after that. So my wife, myself, and my uncle all order a old fashioned. My uncle got one with Woodford.
My favorite.
My wife got one with Bullet. I asked for Buffalo Trace. They
stuff.
didn't have any. So then
What
I
posers.
just doubled down on Bullet.
Okay.
So the waiter comes over and he has 2 old fashions in his hand. And he sets them down and goes, so one of these is Bullet, one of these is Woodford. I'm going to go get the other Bullet. You guys can figure it out. And then walked away.
Nice.
And I was like,
20% tip?
I was like, oh boy, here we go. So like we waited for the other Bullet to come, and like we're nice, like we were families, so like we're it's fine.
Yeah.
Whatever.
You make a game of it now.
Yeah, so like we tasted them all, and we're like, okay, this is the odd man out. So like that's a Woodford, and it was fine. So then my uncle and I were like, hey, there's only 5 minutes left before happy hour. Let's go get a pour. My wife didn't want another one, so he got Penelope Toasted, which was really, really good. And then I can't remember. You'll know Piggy Bank. Is it Whistle Pig or Whirly Pig? Something. Piggy Bank is a 6-year is the name of it. But
I haven't heard that.
oh man, the actual I can't think of it. But regardless, he comes over to the table and goes,
Does the same thing.
I can't remember which one's which.
Are you talking about Whistle Pig?
Whistle Pig, thank you.
Oh,
Whistle Pig,
okay,
yes.
yeah.
And the specific one was Piggy Bank. I believe it was their 6th year.
Okay.
They have a $10,000 bottle.
Yeah, they're up there. But he literally he's like, I don't know which one's which. And we were like, oh, dude, like, you gotta know which one's which. Like, you can't pour 2 bourbons. And he was like, I really don't remember. But, like, you guys will figure it out. Turned around and walked away.
God.
And, like, that was the phrase. You guys will figure it out. And I was like, oh my. And the only thing that saved this is that my wife and I were gifted a bottle of Penelope Toasted by Whitney for our wedding. Mm-hmm. So we knew what it tasted like. And we were able to taste it and know, like, one was toasted, one wasn't. So, like, again, it was fine. But I was like, you are working at a place called the Bourbon Mill. You need to deliver. Like, you have one job. Take order,
Right.
deliver order. Know what you're delivering. We were just beside ourselves.
What? Yeah. How do you even mess that up?
And that's weird too. Like, I worked in the service industry, a few times. So it's like I have empathy for people working in that. So you always try to give them an extra. But something like that, like, I could not tell. You gave me 2 of them next to each other. I wouldn't know. But still, just the fact of, like, that's the way you handle it.
Yeah.
And say, you figure it out. Like, I would be so frustrated.
Yeah.
I would be so annoyed.
He did not get a very good tip. But also, it was, like, weird because this, like, our original waiter was, like, this older woman. And I guess, like, this guy may have been new is what we kind of concluded, because she was kind of sort of training in a way. But she came over and we had said something about the old fashions and how, like, he just didn't know which one was which. And she was like, that is unacceptable. Like, I will definitely say something. And then when he came back with the bourbon pours, I was like, oh my God, this poor fella. Like, get out of the service industry. Like, this just isn't for you. Like, stop.
Yeah.
But so that's, like, really my only update was just, like, this crazy. I've never been given a drink and told that they didn't know which one it was.
Twice.
Yes. It was just crazy to me.
That's like if it's like the dish person that just came out and they said, hey, run this out. We're slammed. I need your help. And you're just like, oh, okay.
Oh, no, the best part is that we were there for happy hour. An hour after happy hour, they had a line dancing event. So they had reserved tables. Like, there was almost nobody else in the restaurant, and they sat us at a reserved table, and they were like, you guys have to be out of here by 7:30 because that's when they're going to be here, and we have an event going on. So, like, it was like there was no excuse. Like, the restaurant wasn't packed. This was an individual that I'm presuming took orders from multiple tables for the rest of the night. God knows how many he got correct. But I was just like, this is insane. I've never had this kind of service at a restaurant before. I was kind of blown away.
Okay, question, because you said line dancing, and I am in my Garth Brooks World Tour t-shirt.
Oh, that's what the G stands for?
Yeah.
World G, which looks like it's in Courier or Times New Roman.
It might be. It's trademarked.
You made that shirt.
It's trademarked.
Someone trademarked that.
Good.
Garth did.
Dude. We'll show the graphic if it's hard to see.
This guy.
Oh my God. Tom is slowly moving into this podcast studio. He actually brought an air mattress that's on the other side of that door.
Well, I bring some stuff. But anyways, my mom got me this for my birthday because I love Garth Brooks.
That's Garth. Oh.
So, line dancing. Have you guys had to do it?
No.
I've
you're
never
talking
had
to?
Both my parents know how to line dance. So, like,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, well, my
How?
dad's from Hanover, and
Okay.
my
Your dad gets a
from
pass.
PA, so, like, he knows how to line dance. And then my mom was so sold on country music that, like, the only reason my parents met was because she went with a friend out to PA who was like a radio host from a country music, and they met each other through friends and, like, out one
We'll tell
night.
that story later because
Yeah.
I think your mom told that to me once.
But they know how to line dance, and almost every time we go out to hit visit my family out there and we all start drinking, like somehow, some way, a song comes on and my mom and dad end up line dancing.
I wish I had to pee right now, but go ahead, Tom. what about line dancing?
Well, did your mom not go through a '90s countries phase?
I don't think so.
Wow.
I wouldn't know your mom. My mom was
I don't think
100%
so.
I feel like
into it,
almost
so.
every mom did. Like,
Really?
Like a '90s country, like a Shania Twain, Reba
Yeah.
McEntire.
No, they're
like-
going through a country phase right now.
Okay, yeah,
But not
okay.
line dancing, but they like
Okay.
country
They didn't
music.
back then though.
I don't think so.
That's
My
cra-
mom, when she was cleaning in the 90s, she would play the Phantom of the Opera. No.
Okay.
That soundtrack, Jim Brickman, things like that. But no, not line dancing.
My mom's cleaning music was Bon Jovi. If Bon Jovi started playing on Saturday, we had better find something to do and grab a broom.
Yeah.
But yeah, line dancing, my mom she loved line dancing. She went out for a while. There was a whole phase. I think there was like some movies that were popular.
Well, skipped my
But she used to teach us boot, scoot, and boogie.
skip my mom.
Scoot and boogie. Oh man, that's so funny. I mean, we know like some line, like we know the Cupid Shuffle. Like that's
I
technically
guess-
a line
Yeah,
dance.
but I don't consider those line dances like most people do, which is like
It's
a
our
country-
generation's version of them, though.
Yeah.
Like that was the line dance of their.
Yeah, at,
like, you
at
know
my
what I
buddy's
mean?
wedding, my mom did every line dance. She's like, "You're dancing with me," and I was like, "Okay." So I went out there and danced,
Yeah.
line dance with my mom, but it wasn't like a country; it was like Cupid Shuffle.
Right, but in the '90s they didn't have the Cupid Shuffle. Well, I don't even know like how long has the Cupid Shuffle been out? What is it, like the Cupid
As
Shuffle,
long
the
as
wobble?
I've been doing weddings, I know that.
Oh my god, I know. I'm so sick of that song.
Yeah, there's like three of them: the Cupid Shuffle, the wobble. What's the other one that I
I
can't?
don't know.
I guess it doesn't really matter. But like I don't remember like when those even came out. Like they weren't around in the '90s. were they?
2007 for the Cupid Shuffle.
Okay, so yeah, in the '90s, all they had was the boot, scoot, and boogie. So
Yeah.
like that was our generation's the Cupid Shuffle and the wobble. That's so funny. All right, so what about your update, James?
All
Let's
right,
get to
everyone,
it.
get comfortable. You might want to crack open another beer.
Oh, jeez. How many of these do you have?
Sit back and relax for James's update here. Hold on, get a fresh pour.
Hey, Macarena.
Yes, it's the
When did that come out?
Oh, no, funny story actually. My mother at her wedding and it's only funny, like not only funny, but like it comes to mind because we just watched my parents' wedding videos the other month for their anniversary in January, and there's a moment during the Macarena where my mother falls like hard during the Macarena.
We'll show it right below.
I don't know. We tried. Well, we do
Is it
have them on-
digitized?
It was on. They went through the process of getting them put on a DVD because their
Yeah.
wedding video was on a VHS. So it is on a DVD. I'll try and figure a way to get that.
Well,
on
I don't know if your
PC
mom would
to,
want us
like-
to show it.
She's like she had to point out where she was
Okay.
to like actually. It's not like she's center stage and like makes this elaborate fall. But
We'll get her consent first.
yeah, I'll ask her about.
See what
it.
happens when I bring up my update.
so funny,
We
the
just starts
Macarena.
talking about the Macarena.
Well, you bring up
There's
the
something
Macarena,
going on
it's
here.
bound to be some
1993.
conversation.
All right. Yeah.
For the Macarena.
God bless.
Oh, that's funny. That's the year I was born.
So old. Okay, so I have two things for my update. One, I saw The Choir of Men. Have you guys ever seen The Choir of Men? I saw it with like a lot of our family. You know, Ted, Trish,
Oh.
et cetera, et cetera.
Those are the first two that you used.
Et cetera, et cetera. Natalie, you get it. Choir of Men. So you guys are both not hip to this because I wasn't either.
No, I don't know what
so
it
it
is.
sounded like, I didn't really know what to think of it. I'll just read the definition here. Thank you, Tom. The Choir of Man is an award-nominated high-energy musical show set in a functional pub featuring a 9-member cast of singers, dancers, and musicians. Known as a feel-good experience, the 90-minute show mixes pub tunes, folk, rock, and Broadway hits. A lot of the songs that they were mixing it up with were like 90s. I knew there was going to be like a lot of singing and dancing, but it was pretty entertaining. It was pretty funny, but they basically go through each guy and like talk about who he is, you know what I mean? And
Okay.
there was times where they brought like women up on stage and they would all serenade this random person with all their music, and it was amazing. It was actually a lot of fun.
So how are you in those experiences? Have you ever like been pulled up on stage for something like that? Like when you said that, my skin like almost started crawling. Like if I was ever pulled up on stage during someone else's act, I would just be like,
they were all good sports
no, don't
about it.
point me out. Like you're the person, you're the entertainer.
They were just blushing the entire time because you have like, you know, nine right men just like serenading you like like it's their job literally. And so they're good sports about it. But the cool part was is if you got there early, you got to go up on stage and get a beer from the bar. That was like a part of the scenery or the what's it called? The thing?
The setting?
The set.
Yeah, the set.
The set.
Yeah.
So it was cool. And
sounds super cool actually.
Yeah, there was from time to time when everyone was on stage, like someone would just go, like one of those actors would go to the front and center of the stage, just like do like a dance move and everyone cheered. And I'm like, I kind of want to go up there and do like like that, just see if everyone cheer for me, just like, you know what, like that.
Never mind.
I didn't do it though, but that was like a voice in the back of my head, just run up there and do like a little and see if people will cheer for you.
God, that's so funny.
Tom, I think you want to say something.
Well, no, that would be funny to just see somebody because you wouldn't know if they're supposed to be doing it.
Exactly.
So,
and I would get cheers. That'd be great.
As far as like musicals and stuff go, like I know I've kind of talked about how like dancing's not my thing and stuff like that. But have you gone to more than just these? Or is like musicals, is plays? Is that
my fiance's mom's actually a redcoat at Playhouse Square, so she gets a lot of a lot of access to,
which
these
is an
plays.
Amazing venue we have, and it's amazing inside and out.
Yeah, maybe we'll show a picture of Playhouse Square or whatever. But it's really cool. I saw A Christmas Story there. So I do see a couple of plays. I am kind of cultured. It is the hangout culture, so we're all sharing. What we know about it.
No, that's funny because that's one thing that, believe it or not, I kind of enjoy.
Yeah.
I've seen like the Nutcracker, Phantom of the Opera.
Have you seen Shucked?
No, but my mom's husband, he like was an opera singer, and so he was in some in Playhouse and Kane Park, and a few other like some that were in Italian and stuff. And I'm always all for seeing people who are good at what they do.
Yeah, they're all amazing.
And it's so cool. It's a live show, which we've also talked about how good that is.
That experience.
And so it is kind of fun, and you'll see people that you wouldn't expect enjoy going to live shows like that.
And all these guys are amazing musicians, and just like in awe by what they can do. So that was that. We went to the Hoffer House afterwards. They got the worst service in the world. I don't know why.
That's kind of a Hoffer House, like.
Is it?
Staple.
Is it a staple?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I was just
literally
last year when I went to Zion, we flew into Las Vegas, and Alex and I went over to the Hoffer House, and it was the worst service.
Was it crowded?
Dead.
Yeah, same here. If it's crowded, I can give them some grace.
Service.
But it was so funny because I don't want to say the last name or whatever, but they were all sitting at another table, our family.
Yeah.
And we were waiting 15 or 20 minutes for our beers, like later, even more probably than that. And then we just saw like their table getting serviced so well. They were all eating like their appetizers and their entrees came out. We were still waiting for a beer. Like, what the but it was fun. I really enjoyed it. It wasn't like too deep. It didn't get too like sad or whatever. But it kind of talked about like each person's life a little bit, like how they are as a man or a person, whatever you want. They're all great musicians, and it was a lot of fun. And the second thing was we had our annual wild game dinner. This is the other side of my family. So this is my dad's side. Once a year my grandma hosts a wild game dinner where people just bring different dishes of wild game to this big buffet of wild game dishes and dinner. And I made a venison and mushroom stroganoff, which is my fiance's favorite, and it got good reviews, but there was a lot of cool things there to eat. And it's just like an interesting thing that I don't think a whole lot of people, if anyone, like has a wild game dinner where you just kind of a lot of people that go like hunt throughout the year, like Fred, he has like pheasant and stuff like that he hunts, and
that was gonna be my next question, like what was the variety of wild game there? Because like venison is one thing, but I would assume that's like the most common thing.
Yeah, it's pretty, you can either hunt it or just like buy it. I think someone bought like pigeon or something like that. But it's just like these meats that are unusual. Sometimes they're hunted, other times they're not. I know this has been going on for a long time, and it used to be like a lot more hunters were involved. A couple years ago there was like alligator, just like different things.
Yeah. Do you guys remember back in the day, like when Giant Eagle had like the wild? Did we talk about this on the podcast? Where like they had like the wild game. Like I remember you could actually get like alligator from Giant Eagle. It was like wow. They had I forget. It was like a couple years that they had different wild stuff. But regardless, no.
So I went pheasant hunting a year or two ago, and then I think it was last year, because last year I brought like pulled pheasant, like barbecued pulled pheasant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For sliders, and it was really good.
I've never had.
So
pheasant.
you can make like a lot of people don't know that wild game is like, it might sound like it's gross or yucky, and it is gross and yucky if you don't know how to cook it. But if you're a good cook and know how to cook, wild game, especially, you can make dishes that are just delicious. You know what I mean? So it's. Yeah, and we talk about, like our documentary a lot, and like where your meat comes from, and if it ethically sourced and all that stuff. And I think hunting is a great example of how you can get meat and like not feel bad that it's in a industrial setting or factory farm where they abuse their animals and stuff.
Yeah. No, I think that's super cool, and especially knowing at least the venison that you brought was an animal that was that either
straight up
was either you shot or like someone in your group had
last
shot?
year.
What was it?
Yeah, the one I got you, I shot.
Yes.
Yeah, the one this year my buddy Fred shot.
Yeah,
but still he shot too many and gave me one.
You knew the person, like you were on the same grounds as like that person that was harvesting the meat and like giving it to you.
And the really cool thing is, I don't know if I said this on the pod, but one of my buddies was over. This happened a while ago, but I had a pound of venison, like ground venison, and I had a pound of ground beef from White Oaks. Yeah. And I didn't show him the labels of either. I showed him like the underside of both, and he couldn't differentiate which one was the ground beef and which one was the shot like literally weeks ago in Monroe County, Ohio. Cool. Like that deer, like he couldn't tell because both are such great products. If I would have just got some like pound of ground beef from wherever, it's pink, it's white, it's very pale looking, you could easily tell the difference. Like, oh, that's the store-bought ground beef, that's the venison. So it's just cool to, feel good about where your meat comes from, because, like I said before on this podcast, like the animal population is the most vulnerable out of all of us. So like we should treat those animals well and with respect when we consume them. So,
Tom, do you like venison? Are you a fan of any wild game?
I've had like venison jerky, but that's about.
Would you eat ground venison if I gave you some?
Yeah, I would try.
I mean, you could make tacos, burgers. I mean,
I remember
you season a little bit
my
more.
My dad's family always made sloppy joes.
Yeah. Sloppy joes.
They were my favorite. Yeah. Deer meat, and that grease that comes from deer meat is just a different flavor.
Well, it's very lean.
Man, so it's so good.
Yeah.
That's what I've heard. It is very lean.
But you want to just introduce a little bit more fat to it. Like I save all my bacon grease or tallow, whatever you want to call it, and then add some of that or just butter, whatever. But yeah, you gotta just care for it and it'll be good.
Yeah, I've never, other than like ground beef and occasional bison burger or whatever.
Bison burgers,
I've never, that's about as much as I've cooked as far as meat. And I really haven't even tried a lot of these like bison, and I've tried like frog legs. And like
frog legs are good.
A couple other things.
Have you tried duck? Do you like duck?
No, I've never tried it.
Have you tried duck?
Me either. I'm
so uncultured.
I'm open
I've
to
heard
eating
it's fancy.
all things, but
duck is good.
Like French?
Duck is really good.
Yeah. I've heard a lot of different stuff is good. Like I think my wife has had shark just from like her family being down in Florida so often. Yeah. And she's like, it's really, really good. Like having like a shark steak. She's like, it's very, very tasty. But like I've never had it myself. I'd love to, but
I don't think I've ever had shark.
Maybe we should have like a little like appetizer wild game here on the pod one day. Make like little meatballs or something with venison and bison, and I don't know. Maybe get fun with it.
That'd be fun. I would love to make venison meatballs.
Yeah.
All right. So which topic do we go to next? Because I know we are hanging out before this hangout, and we're bringing up a lot of fun things. We're like, save it for the pod, save it for the pod, save it for the pod. Okay. Either I vote for either first jobs or the 8th grade trip to DC.
Let's go first jobs.
All right.
Let's go first jobs.
Well, Tom was talking about the service industry, and he alluded to it earlier. I was like, this would be a perfect segue, but
Well, yeah, I think, I grew up, my dad, he like managed and had his own printing company. So I kind of always worked for him.
Oh, that was your
when
real
I
first
could.
job.
Yeah, I mean, technically, like I never got like signed paperwork and stuff like that. It was like I was 12, 13, and I would staple, or 14, and I would staple and collate. And I ended up getting to work in like the dark room.
That's cool.
With negatives and stuff like that. Everything for the printing press. And all that kind of stuff. But like my first job that wasn't him, I worked at Denny's for like a week.
Yes.
As a server.
I love that.
But it was like the
Wait,
Denny's.
why only a week?
Yeah.
Because it wasn't for me. I'm a
What
back,
set you over
I'm
the
a back
edge?
of the house. Like,
Were you just not getting tips?
well, no, at this time, no. But it was also like, because I was training, all the server got the tips. But it was a lot of like, it was just too much. It just wasn't my thing. Like the whole serving and
The whole like being nice to people.
yeah. I was much better making my jokes in the kitchen and saying things you couldn't say out front.
Fair.
So,
Fair.
but yeah, it didn't last long. It didn't last long. But and then it was like, I remember I went to Giant Eagle for a while, and I remember just being like 14 and sitting back smoking cigarettes with like 70-year-old dudes, like right on the door outside of where the seafood was, but it was just like, you just hung out there and stuff like that. But yeah, those were most of my first jobs. And then it was like, then I worked at a Walgreens until like the end of my, sophomore year. And
So when you
those were
worked
my
at
first
Walgreens,
ones.
you got those receipts that were just like
Man, I
like that.
don't know what the statute of limitations is, but that's CVS.
What did I look like I was doing? I'm pulling up a large receipt. That's what I was trying to. Oh no.
Good. That's fun. So a week at Denny's and then Walgreens.
Yeah. So, but I mostly think of like my time working with my dad.
And I'm envious of that. Like
Yeah.
when I was in high school for visual design and imaging, the last like 2 years that I went to like the trade school in high school, we didn't do any like darkroom stuff, but we did a lot of printing stuff, and I always thought that was like super super cool. So like to be at such a young age in that like real business kind of a environment must have been really neat.
Yeah, and we grew up around it, and for a long time. I mean, from the time when I was like 8, my dad was a single dad with 4 of us, and him and my mom separated, so we would end up at his work quite a bit. And, that's where I learned about, like, some of the crazy stuff adults do. Like, shooting off bottle rockets in the back, that landed in the freeway. Or shooting bottle rockets in the building. Just kind of some of that stuff that, like, looking back, he was in his mid to late 20s. So
Sure.
He was a kid. But, yeah, I grew up around him working in the printing industry, whether it was the design, the printing, the presses, the machines, and always got to be a part of that. And so those are my favorite jobs were working with my dad, that, and then we had a cleaning company for a few years. So that, yeah, those are some of my best memories.
Nice. Yeah, I have like kind of 2 first jobs that in my head are like first jobs. One of them, one of my first jobs was at Subway, and Eat Fresh, and yeah, So thank you. Yeah, for those of you that don't know, $5 subs of the day. They used to have $5 footlongs.
Yeah, and I love how they're showing all the 6-inch subs. Like this is such a deal.
And they're 4 inches too.
Dude,
Right,
but
yeah.
this Subway was actually in front of a trailer park. So there was just nothing but trailers behind the Subway.
Oh, I know the Subway.
Yeah, you probably know the Subway. So there was one. I have like two little small stories. The first one was this woman came in and she just wanted a cup for water, and I was like, whatever. It was I remember it was like pretty late, and I was like, whatever, I'll just give you a cup for water. And she just looked at me like we lock eyes, because I'm like, I'm just gonna watch what you're gonna pour. You know what I mean? That machine. We just lock eyes. She's like, Coke. And I was like, you're gonna have to pay for that Coke. And then she's like, I'm gonna have to pay for this, and she's filling it, filling it, pay for this, dumps it out, and just walks out. And I was like, God.
She walked out without it?
Yeah.
What was the point of dumping it then? If you're just gonna,
Dude, I have
She didn't
no
have to pay for
idea.
it.
We got a lot of characters coming through that trailer park.
Man, you're not wrong.
It was pretty wild. But my first day, I remember this so vividly. I would I watched the 45-minute or 50-minute, training tape or whatever, and I'm so nervous. This is my first job. I'm so jittery, and then you stand beside someone watching them do it for a while, and you're like, okay. And then the person that was training me left, and they're like, all right, we're gonna need you to cut the bread. And I was like, okay, I get my clear gloves on, and I take out the knife, and what bread do you want? We got, I think, 3 options. They're escaping me right now.
Asiago, whole wheat,
white. No, there's a cheesy one. Yeah. Anyway, it doesn't
Italian.
matter. They chose one of those 3 options,
and then both of we should have known first. I said Asiago. An Italian is definitely what a sub is. Go ahead.
So anyway, I get the bread and I start cutting it, and I cut the edge of my thumb while I'm going around the sandwich, and it just I see it immediately starts turning red, bleeding out of my glove. And I remember I ditched the piece of bread because I think it was a 6-inch. I just throw it away, and I make the entire sub with one hand, blood gushing out of my thumb on the other hand, looking at this guy, be like, tomatoes? Lettuce?
You're getting whiter and whiter.
Yeah,
and whiter.
I'm about to faint. I'm seeing 3 of these guys ordering.
It's dripping out of your glove because it filled up.
My hand was just down. It was dripping on the ground.
There's a puddle trail.
And I was
down
so
the
frozen.
line.
I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to run back or whatever. I'm like, I have to finish this. And I just give it to the person, the cashier or whatever. And I just run to the back.
Did you want ketchup?
Oh my gosh. But so was my first job. My second job was cleaning my dad's an electrical engineer, and he was working in an office, and they needed a cleaner to clean the office. And so I think once or twice a week, I would go there and clean his entire office. Just me. And, a couple weeks in, I would be cutting corners and blaring whatever emo band throughout the entire office. And then, but what was cool is if I wanted to do something else or had plans, I would be like, one of my friends would be like, hey, do you want to make $50? And I would just give them the keys to my dad's office. I don't think my dad's watched this. But they
You were just outsourcing your.
I would outsource.
That's like the Tom
I did
Sawyer
outsource.
Huck Finn thing. Yeah,
Yeah, it works.
you were a
that's
businessman.
so
I was.
Oh, so I got this date. Hey, buddy. God, and then just giving the keys. Oh, what times it was?
Yeah, before security
So
cameras were
funny.
everywhere or whatever.
Before he would have ever known that it wasn't you.
No, you just punch in a
showing up.
code, and if the alarm doesn't trip.
It's like, wow, James, you did a great job yesterday. What happened?
Why don't you always do this good?
Why do you do good half the time?
The other half of the time we
my
walk into
God.
the stereos are on level 11.
Yeah, dude. I remember. Oh, dude, I remember that so vividly. The smells and all the cleaning stuff, and just going through everyone's trash, being like, okay, this guy always eats peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. There's always crust in his. You know what? You
so
get
funny.
to
You
know.
get to learn people.
You get to know the people's
Yeah.
lives by the trash and stuff that they had.
Yep.
And I remember I was always like, why are there all pubes in the stalls? You know what I mean? I'd be like,
okay.
this is disgusting. I hated that.
That's so
No, I ran a
funny.
cleaning franchise. So we did commercial cleaning. We had a couple businesses as our accounts. And so we were in some during the day. So we kind of had that face to face, oh, I just heard you in that other room, or, oh, you're a slob. And now I'm looking at you. But then I also had a bowling alley where everything was closed.
Yeah.
So I could turn on the music, the lights. If I wanted to play video games for a while, I could. It was fun. It was fun.
Sometimes there'd be one person working in there, so I couldn't go wild.
Yeah.
But I learned to despise people based on the trash and the mess that they made. I was just this fucking guy. Every time there's gum everywhere, and he's always fills his trash to the brim. And
Because you wonder what their houses look like.
yeah, that's true.
Uh,
I wonder what the lives
Yeah,
look like.
maybe.
Yeah.
What did you ever meet any of them, or get a face to
I
the
knew
person that
some
drove
of my
you the
dad-
most mad?
I knew some of my dad's coworkers. They were friends or whatever, and I knew some of them. But the vast majority, I only put a nasty face to their name if they were messy. I didn't know a lot of them. No.
Yeah, that's right. Well, what's the worst thing you had to clean?
Yeah.
Your worst experience during that time.
So I would say this is for my sister Adriana, the owner of Shrunken Head Tiki Bar.
Shouts out Shrunken Head Tiki Bar.
We used to have her. I used to have my buddy Phil. I had a couple people that would help us, and the nastiest thing was Adriana.
It starts with the laugh. That's exactly what I love. The nastiest thing, and then he laughs. Yes,
so this is just really to give her some problems, because we used to go to Speedway to get cappuccinos, and one time she farted in the cleaning closet.
Oh my god!
And it was
Shrunken Head Tiki Bar.
Just don't go in the cleaning closet.
But like, we didn't have to do like too much. Like, it was drunk people at the bars, and occasionally at the bowling alley. That was pretty bad. And you know, women are worse. Like in the bathrooms, it's just it's just so gross. Like they're
really
yeah. Overall, they're worse in the bathrooms.
Oh yeah. When I worked at a brewery, the women's bathroom. Oh my
yeah.
God. Like a tornado.
Oh, I don't think there's any women working at my dad's office. Not that he didn't hire any or whatever, but like, I would.
It was the 90s.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was just looking like, that's clean.
But yeah, my worst cleans-ups were like when I worked for ServPro before I went back to school for a short time, and that was the worst because it's like just gross mold, fire, you know.
Yeah.
But like, the actual cleaning company, it was never anything too crazy or bad. It was more office stuff, kind of like what you were doing, more floors and just nothing too crazy. Although the one time, I'll never forget this, there was a news anchor named Sharon Reed, and she was like,
The Sharon Reed?
The Sharon Reed.
Holy
yeah, and she was
Say
like,
less.
she kind of got famous because there was a photographer that was doing a big photo shoot in Cleveland, but his thing was like everybody was like naked laying down, and so she joined in on this photo shoot.
Wait, what are we talking about right now? Sorry.
So this is how this news lady got famous.
Oh, by a nude photo?
She had, her big story was that she participated in this mass group of people.
Am I going to be able to put this photo on screen?
I don't know.
Okay,
So wait.
it was like a.
So the nude photo came first, and then her news job came second?
No, that was she joined in on this event as the reporter, but she participated in this big group.
Then she got fired.
Art installation. Well, she followed LeBron to Miami because there was some
chemistry.
But it was just one of those
Off
things.
the court.
I was cleaning the bathroom, and I had this sign that said closed, you know, like don't come in. And she just kind of like walked in, and I remember like getting out of a stall, and she was standing there like in front of the mirror, and I was just like,
oh,
hello.
I've seen you naked.
We're closed.
Oh my gosh.
What did she say? Well, what's the rest of that story? Was she just like, get out of here,
Oh,
peasant?
no, she's just like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't think it was a big deal. And I was like, it's not. You're good.
Yeah, when we were at the Arnold, you know, I was using the bathroom. They had some like woman like cleaning the bathroom.
Like nonstop. There was a person like literally like there with a mop because there was so much traffic. That
but
he would just like mop it.
I don't know. But I'm gonna go to I'm gonna visit the little men's room. If you guys want to bring up a new topic, and I'll jump right in when I'm out.
Well, I'm gonna start bringing up my first job.
Oh shoot. Okay, I want to be here for that.
This is Sharon Reed.
If you're nasty.
We have not followed.
Sorry.
Well, she has her
that
own
joke was for me.
She has her own podcast, so maybe we can invite her on as a guest. Sharon Reed, if you'd like to come on the Hangout Culture, we'd love to have you. No, so you can go ahead. I'm just gonna. Well, I guess
No, I'm here for it.
My first job was at Presswood Country Club down there in Green, and it was the worst first job that anyone could have because I was a dishwasher, so I got to like work in the kitchen and experience like kitchen life. And the main thing that had happened, like they were open for normal business. They had like a normal diner. And then they also had a banquet center. So they were constantly doing weddings or, you know, whatever party that they had going on. So like I was even working in the wedding industry before I knew that I was working in the wedding industry.
That's true.
But my favorite part about this job was like the overall exposure to like not only real world, but like what you can get away with. So like, especially in a kitchen, I remember the head chef constantly, or not constantly, but like if there was a wedding that night, right? He would be like, oh, half hour till we're serving whatever dish, like smoke them if you got them. And like everyone would go out back and smoke a cigarette. And like, I got this job when I was 16 years old, but the men's lounge downstairs had a cigarette machine that you could actually buy cigarettes from.
Like individual ones too?
Well, no, it was behind a case, but the manager of the men's lounge didn't care because I could tell him to take it out of my check.
Oh my God.
And here's the catch though.
God.
A pack of, they only had two, Marlboro Reds and Marlboro Lights. Those are the only two cigarettes that they had there. And a pack of Marlboro Reds was like $11 at the time.
What?
Yeah. So like to get cigarettes from the men's lounge, you were paying one hell of a surplus to get it. So like but I was 16. I didn't know anyone else. So I was like, yeah, I'll pay the $11 to get them. And then I got to feel cool and like go out and smoke a cigarette with the guys on break. And we like used to sneak up onto the attic through the one like roof access. And we thought we were so cool. We was like, you could see over like the parking lot and the whole golf course and all. There's a big wedding going on. You're like on the roof smoking a cigarette, thinking you're all that. But that was a very, very fun first job that I ended up having all through high school.
Yeah.
Like that job lasted. I ended up going from like a dishwasher to a prep cook to a line cook, and then ended up going to college and getting out of it. But it was a pretty good first job. I enjoyed that one.
Did you have it consistently all 4 years, or were you like seasonal?
It wasn't all 4. It was only for 2. But yeah, for the entire year, yes, because they did like banquets and like there were times where like we would sneak down to like the second bar after a wedding and like steal a bottle of vodka out of the bar and like take it home. Or when I was that age, like you would just like have your friends meet you in the parking lot and you would like take a couple shots and get super drunk off of 3 shots with your buddies and then smoke a couple of the $11 cigarettes that you bought from the men's lounge. And then drive home a couple hours later telling my parents like the wedding went late and I had to work and it was a 300-person wedding. There were so many dishes. I couldn't get out until 2 a.m. on that
Why do you
night.
smell like cigarettes?
Yeah, right. Well, because all the other cooks were smoking cigarettes and I had to take a break. I wasn't going to stand in the kitchen for 18 hours during the day. Like there were all kinds of excuses, but just a lot of like fun memories that probably shouldn't have had, but like
yeah, that's a lot of people's first jobs. A lot of people's first jobs is when they're first introduced to like older people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that can introduce a lot of other things.
Yeah.
Because you're around family, like neighbors and church people and
Right.
stuff like that. So to be around people that are totally outside of your normal.
Oh, that's a good.
They're not going to snitch on you.
Oh,
you know
yeah.
what I mean?
That's
Like
a
they don't
very
give a
good
shit.
point. Yeah, I could
They don't know
totally
your mom.
smoke in front of them.
Right, yeah.
That's a great point. I never really thought about it like that.
And like we had, I worked at Arby's.
Oh,
Like,
dude, I love Arby's. Do you like Arby's? Are you down?
I love Arby's.
Do you love Arby's?
we've been over this.
Right.
Yeah.
We've been
He's
over
a liar.
this. I don't like Arby's.
He's a liar. When we were on a documentary,
I had one ham and cheddar and thought it was okay. That does not mean that I like Arby's.
He saved his leftovers.
He
He devoured his leftovers when we got
don't
back to the
like-
hotel room.
He's
a liar.
Okay, after what, like 14 beers, maybe I'm eating leftover Arby's. But
Arby's sucks, dude.
I don't
Arby's
like sliced beef. That's not my jam.
If 5 sandwiches can fill your trunk with alcohol, that means the food is good.
Wait, if 5 sandwiches can fill your trunk with alcohol, what
We've been through this.
if 5
You went
sandwiches
through the
can fill your
drive-through,
trunk?
Yep.
and you used to bring him 5 sandwiches from Arby's.
Oh,
Remember this
okay, I was
callback?
like,
5 beef and
okay,
cheddars. That's
Yeah.
why another reason I don't like vodka anymore is because of drive-through vodka.
Dude, 5 beef and cheddars, I'll get you all the alcohol you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm set for the night.
So funny.
Well, I don't
Real quick.
If
Whoa,
I just
this
wanna
is the
say-
photo from with
Oh.
Sharon Reed. This is the one that
how
she
does someone know
participated
that
in.
she's in this photo? Get
Well, I'm
out
sure that
of
the
here.
cameraman was like, "Oh, you're participating," and then
Well, yeah, because
made
they made a
story
whole
of it.
story.
You
out
can't
of
even
it.
tell who's a dude and who's a chick. Well, besides that one girl with the
But
the
that's
tan
also
lines.
like, why was it such a big deal? Like they,
the tan lines or what?
like right in the middle. Yeah, what the When did this happen? 2004?
Yeah, so this was, I don't know, you probably won't remember, but Desperate Housewives, right?
I remember Desperate Housewives.
They had a crossover where the girl on there was doing commercials with Terrell Owens. And it was one where she like dropped the towel in the locker room, and people went crazy talking about how overly sexual it was and everything.
Okay.
So it was around that time that this guy was doing this thing. So she went and participated, and they did it as a news story. And people went crazy, saying it was like the worst thing you could ever do. It was indecent.
It's a different time. It was a
terrible.
different time.
Body and exposing.
No one would care now.
Could you imagine how many selfie sticks and ring lights there would be if you were doing that now?
That is pretty crazy, yeah.
This picture just does nothing for me. I'm sorry.
But it's not about the picture. It's about the movement. It's about like...
Oh, what's the movement again?
What Tom was just saying about like the whole...
Naked?
Well, yes.
Well, and that was this photographer's thing. Like, he did this all over.
I get that.
But it's, like, look, I wouldn't hang it up. I don't really care for it. Like, it is what it is. But I get that how it can be considered art or whatever.
Yeah, that's fine. God bless. It's just not, I don't know. I just don't.
But I don't see somebody getting in trouble, But it wouldn't be a big deal, I don't think. But
it's kind of cool that you can get like a couple. I mean, what would you say? That's at least 1,000 people, right? I would say close to like 1,000 people just get like naked and lay down in the middle of a street.
And in Cleveland too, like you can't even get in the water without getting sick.
Like, where are all their clothes? Like, they had to get naked way down there to get here.
Or that's what they're laying on, so they don't lay on needles.
But we've been.
It is Cleveland. Yeah.
We've been in the exact location they are for weddings.
Yep.
Yeah,
literally.
Yeah, 100%. Because isn't the one Cleveland signed over here?
No, I think there's restaurants and stuff to the right. You remember?
Yeah, that's like that cantina place.
Right, yeah.
But over here,
the one Cleveland,
sign. Yep.
Yeah, and then it's the little stairs that go down and whatnot.
Oh yeah, we spent a lot of time there with our clothes on.
Yes, our clothes are on. We look pretty spiffy on those times when we've been on that street,
I couldn't take my eyes off that photo though when you were showing it. So, so
maybe James does get that print.
There might be something.
There's here's another one.
There might be something there. I can. Okay, this one's a little bit weirder.
That's Brown Stadium and a bunch of pumpkins?
Brown? Okay, so this is...
Oh my god.
Oh, that is too good. I love... Was that original? You said pumpkins. Wow.
This dude's so going the other way.
He's like, this shit smells.
That dude's going the other way of everyone else.
Oh, maybe we found James's new favorite art.
I can't look away.
It's like mesmerizing, and it's one of those everywhere you look, you see something else.
It almost looks like a bunch of like little pigs. You know what I mean? Because no one can see the head or anything. It's just like flesh and like.
It makes me wonder if like
crack.
It's the same people that go to all these and like. You know, like, is this a different group of people than the last photo?
Like a traveling circus or like...
Is this just some nudist colony that, like, performs for this photographer in a way?
This is making me really want to go to the bathroom.
Oh, good.
Number one.
Farewell. Oh, that's so good. Well, I'm happy that we learned James's new favorite form of photography. Hopefully it doesn't put a call out.
Like, hey, you thought a boudoir book for your, husband was great. How about 35 of your closest friends and family?
In downtown Cleveland in a public scene. Oh, that's good. Oh, man. Well, okay, so I would kind of want to move over to the next topic because I think it's one that, well, Tom and I had said, we'll get to DC trip. I want to talk about how you discover music nowadays, and I think that it is such an interesting topic because thinking back when I was a kid, like I remember on TV we had Music Choice, and that was like one of the ways that new and upcoming artists would release music videos, and you could go through and select genres and choose. Like I was introduced to Paramore on Music Choice. I was introduced to Mac Miller, actually. Donald Trump, that song by Mac Miller was the first Mac Miller song that I'd ever heard. And that was like mid to early 2000s that I saw that. But like nowadays, all you do, like I remember that's how I used to discover music, and nowadays it seems like you're only discovering music through like Instagram clips or different like shorts that bands are promoting on social media. You don't hear of new music on, like I don't listen to the radio anymore. Like how do you discover new music, James?
Well, just like you were saying, shorts, the last 3 or 4 bands that I've really gotten into, they just have some like funny comment like this drummer's insane or whatever, and they show like their chorus or something from a live show. And you know, when I'm scrolling and I see that, because a lot of my feed is music, I'll just stop and listen to it, and sometimes it's really great and pulls me in, and I listen to their whole album or something while I'm working. And so that's a lot of how I hear about new music, is literally from shorts. You know, they'll post 30 to 45 seconds of their song, and usually it's the best part or whatever. I don't know, but
yeah, the part they're
that's
trying to
how
market, right?
Yeah,
like they're trying to sell you on their music as a band. Like they're going to post the best 45 seconds of a song.
yeah, because like I don't talk to like friends and family in the same way I used to when I was younger. Like every day, you know, you're seeing them, you're interacting, whether it's college or whatever. But so it's like a little bit more isolated. So you're kind of like living in your algorithm, and every now and then it doesn't happen often, but Instagram will throw me something and I'm like, dude, these guys rip. And usually like their kids, like, you know, 10 or 15 years younger than me or whatever, and just shredding, a college band or whatever. I listen to a lot of pop punk, so it's a lot of aimed that way. And Leisure Hour is a band that I found out from them, which they're fucking brilliant. I love Leisure Hour. So that's like the most recent band that I found from like these Instagram shorts, and I downloaded all their stuff and listened to them a lot. And you know, when they come into town, I'll probably see them. So it's kind of like that connection.
Yeah, that's funny actually. Like now that while you were saying that, I was trying to think like, have I discovered anyone from social media here of recent? And there actually was a clip from a band called Slapdragon that does a lot of like acoustic, like maybe acoustic is the wrong, it's like folk but like slowed down feel. And I just saw, like I discovered it maybe 2 weeks ago, and I just saw another clip where they were like boasting, because I followed them, they were like boasting about how like it's crazy how a year ago they were meeting in someone's attic like playing music, and it was a picture of them at Tiny Desk. And I was like, how cool that like they're now there. And like Tiny Desk is still like as big as it is, it's still like a starting point for a lot of these bands. And like that's so cool that like that's one of the ones that I was like, wow, I did actually discover them through social media.
I saw Jesse Wells. If you maybe want to pull him up, Tom. Jesse Wells, I think that's who he is, but I found him years and years ago.
I know exactly who
you're talking about. He was just this random dude, and I found him captivating, and he had like maybe like 100 or 200 likes or something like that, a couple thousand followers or something. And I was like, dude, this dude's amazing. And to see him blow up, and he was just on the JRE, the Joe Rogan Experience, a couple months ago. But it's cool when you find someone, and again, YouTube just throws you this algorithm and throws you this band, and you're like, oh, that guy is on to something. That guy is going to be a star. And he has a very small following, and just within the course of like, I think it was 2 years ago since I followed him, he just blew up, you know?
Yeah.
He was something special. It's like, you know, I'm no talent artist or like, you know, person to find these people, but I was like, this guy's going somewhere. And then sure enough, two years later, because I posted him as a song on a story that I had on my Instagram like 2 years ago. And obviously no one knew him, you know, then. It was just completely different for him then.
And him specifically, like his claim to fame is authenticity as well.
Like, he's such a good songwriter too.
Oh, well, yes. Yeah. And like there's talent in songwriting for sure, but like what he's singing about is just like the brutal truth of how he's perceiving life. He
has one line that stuck with me. It's he's talking about Bibi Netanyahu. He's got a psalm for that and a bomb for you. You know what I mean? Like, but that's just like one of his like thousands and thousands of like zingers in one line, like, you know, brilliant lines in a song. And he's a folk artist for people that don't know. And his claim to fame, how we got popular, because he didn't really change what he was doing, was he would just have his guitar or some sort of stringed instrument, because he plays multiple of these, and he would just be like in a field of tall grass, and you know what I mean, just like playing to his camera.
One take, that's the music video. It's like it wasn't meant to be like high production. Like,
no, it wasn't high production.
Artist.
But the thing was,
let me play.
he could write a song so brilliantly a day or two after a major news event. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And have all the ins and outs covered from his chorus to the verse and bridge. And he would just have such clever wordplay and very catchy songs. And the news just broke like 2 or 3 days ago, and he already has like a song on it that seems polished, and he was really good. So
Well, you can see him October 18th at the Cleveland Agora, and you'll see what news he's talking about then.
all right, October 18th, he's going to be on the pod.
Wouldn't that be something? That'd be a really cool, like, random reach out, and we could go see the concert, have him on the pod.
But it's interesting, like, with how you guys know this guy and how he's probably got such a huge following, but yet, you know, all these people that so many people know, others have, like, no idea because there's so much out there. And, you know, my 4 kids, they're all into music, and I love it because I got that from my parents. My dad used to play a game where he's like, who is the band? You know, because we listen to the radio. Yeah. And I would not know. And so I would try to know because I always wanted to get it right. And then he had some of these jokes about when it was who or yes. And he thought they were hilarious. And now I say those same ones. But like with my kids, like teaching them music, that's kind of where they've found a lot. And all 4 of them have great styles of music and what they like. And it used to be for me, it was like, because Trent and I were just talking about this weekend, because he has Spotify 24/7. Mm-hmm. So he is hearing more music than you can ever imagine.
More than we were ever introduced with at that age, Yeah,
and I told him, I was like, we had MTV, VH1,
TLC,
the radio. You know what I mean? Like, or going to a record store and saying, well, that album looks cool. Like, I have no idea who it is, so I'll put it in the preview booth and put these headphones on and see, you know, you just kind of get it randomly. And, you know, I'm so spoiled because I hate what Spotify invests in, but I can't get rid of my subscription. And I will love Spotify as my favorite app ever. And I play music 10 hours a day. So I'm always like, something will happen and it's a new artist and I get excited and I start going down a rabbit hole every day, you know, finding a new one. I would say like Leon Bridges is probably one of my favorites that I found accidentally from like a mix. Yeah. And
well, that's one of the things that I love about, like, I'm an Apple Music user. So one of the features that they have is the infinity loop. So like if I'm playing an artist and it like makes its way through the album, or if I only have a single by them, after that single's done, it'll play a like radio mix of similar genre, similar sounding songs by artists that aren't in my library. So it does help fester like new discovery, but that I don't know, I feel like it's so less frequent today to discover new music. But I did actually, when you were talking about your dad guessing like what bands was playing, it reminds me of a game that I like to play with myself right now, because I almost only download music in album form. So I'm downloading someone's entire piece of work. So like my Apple Music library has thousands and thousands and thousands of songs. So when I'm driving, I'll just shuffle my entire library and then put like, because I have CarPlay in my car, so like I'll put like the maps up to where I can't see the artist or the song name, and I'll try and guess like who is this? Like, oh, I know these guys. Like I know this voice from the other song that they sing, and I can hear that other song in my head. But like, who is this? And like playing that game, I do it with my wife as well. But it's a fun thing to do even now, where you're like, who is this? Like testing your knowledge. Like, this is in my library. I should know who this is. I downloaded them, but.
So is that how you find a lot of your songs too? Is like Spotify, like random?
At this point,
playlists?
That's pretty much it. Yeah, like I mean, even today, like it was like, okay, I want to listen to Typo Negative, and so I listened to that, and then similar to what you have, then it goes on to These Are Similar, or you know, it's pretty good with like, I'll put in like Al Green mix. I'll put in metal mix. It makes daily mixes for you, and then it just kind of will, in the algorithm, recommend things and bring on new things. And I listen to so many genres. Like every day it might be something different. Like it might be jazz rap, it might be instrumental, it might be metal one day. You know, there's this new Viking metal band from Sweden, Amon Amar. They're not new. They've been around since the 90s, but they're new to me. As soon as I shave my beard, I'm getting into Viking metal. But like it's just kind of finding those new bands that old or new, new to you, that just kind of show up that you never would have been open to before.
Yeah.
They would have never been on MTV. They would have never been
you
on
would
the
have never
radio.
heard of them
No.
otherwise.
No.
Yeah.
And finding, like you talked about with that guy, where it's like, you're not just finding people who have hit it big and they're super popular. You can find people that have like a couple hundred likes or a couple hundred followers on YouTube, on Spotify.
Sometimes it's a dime a dozen, because honestly, there's so many great bands that I would love and appreciate, but like it's a dime a dozen when they come through on YouTube. Like YouTube doesn't do a great job of like feeding me new things that they think I would like, but when it is new, finally, right, I usually like it. You know, same thing with all of them, but there's no better way of getting music than word of mouth, in my opinion, because that's all of my top 20, 30 favorite bands have all been word of mouth. I remember in college, like when there would be a new album that came out, me and my buddy would literally get the record and have a listening party and listen to the whole record from start to finish and talk about it. But the last like word of mouth, this is gonna be another shouts out to Bobby Lee. He talked about Dead. This band Dead, D-E-H-D, and I was like, I like Bobby Lee, I like his music taste, and I just looked up Dead, and I was like, dude, these guys are fucking awesome. So I got really into Dead through Bobby Lee, just again word of mouth, like someone that you respect and you like, and you know you appreciate their taste in music and stuff, and he was talking about Dead because he was saying like how he's not old, how he still likes new music and new bands, and he named them as an example of a band that he liked.
But isn't that such a connecting piece between you and somebody else? It's
Yeah,
like
exactly.
Them showing music. Like
I'll give you the time of day because like I understand your music taste.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And the algorithm can never do that.
Correct.
As much as they try, they can never do that.
And I will always remember, like, my buddy Caleb. Like, there will always be a connection with Tool. Or, you know, my mom with the Garth Brooks. Or with certain people who have introduced me to things where it will always bring back that connection. And there'll always be some sort of feeling with that person. Especially when it's... Because music just is different. It is just like that.
And you think about them every time you hear it. Like, I had one of my really good friends, Frank, in college, like, literally introduced me to most of my favorite bands now. You know what I mean? And, well, speaking of bands, and if you want a free t-shirt or tank top, name this album and the band, and you'll get a free t-shirt or tank top. Just comment below what the album is and the band that made this album, and you'll get a free t-shirt or tank top. We'll ship it to you. We'll pay for the shipping and everything. Just comment below. It's fun.
Yes. Yeah. And when we respond on the comment and ask you to tell us where to ship it, just reply.
We had a bite.
Us.
We had a bite, and he guessed the correct the album.
He got the last one. There's a t-shirt or tank top waiting for him.
Yeah.
He just has to tell us where to ship it.
Right.
And we'll ship it to you. So
we're still waiting on that email. But yeah, we'll send you the email, say what size, what color, what's your address, and we'll ship that to you.
Yeah, and if that person does reach back out and they do get one, this one still stands. We are willing to ship too.
Yes.
So if you comment on this one, you will still win a Inman t-shirt or a tank top, variety of colors and sizes.
But music has always been meant to be very personal, right? And I feel like with the algorithm and the way we're getting fed media constantly 24/7, that we can't really find a quiet place to listen to this intimately. Intimate is what I was like going for with in terms of like anytime someone writes a song, they really hope you have the headphones on, you're listening to it in a quiet space, and you're just secluded and listening to every little timbre and note. Like that's what music is supposed to be. And you know, I hope eventually we'll get there again, but like I'm seeing like little glimmers of hope with these every once in a while when Instagram or YouTube will send me something from like these young kids in like Alabama or something, I don't know, that are playing in their garage. So I'm like, dude, these guys are awesome. If they ever come to Cleveland, I'll see them, and you know, I'll listen to their entire album. And so I don't know. We're just kind of relying on robots to kind of give us our music.
And that's kind of
now.
like the AI argument. I was gonna bring it up. Like, is this an argument for AI? Like, how many Spotify playlists are they making for how many people every single day? Isn't like the whole point of AI is like a database? Like, the more data it accumulates, the better it's gonna get over time. Like, you would think then that your daily mix, if you were to choose the genre, maybe it would be able to give you something that like would be banger after banger after banger. Like, is that an argument to keep using it and hopefully it gets there?
So I'm usually against data collection and spying.
I know.
But I love Spotify Wrapped.
Spotify take it all.
Yeah, Spotify Wrapped. I love Discord Wrapped too. If you're on Discord and do Discord Wrapped,
So there's
it's
only
fun, too.
2 apps I've ever paid for. One is the game Heads Up, to play with a kid. And then the other one...
So funny that's your other one.
I don't know. Jeff.
There isn't a free version? Are you kidding?
Well, this was more fun. And
It's called Note Cards.
It was like COVID
God,
time
that's
or
so
something.
funny. Sure, that's so funny.
It's called Notes in your phone.
Yeah, that would have worked. But, I splurged. I was balling back then. But then I paid for this stats app to keep track of, rather than having to wait for Spotify Wrapped, I could go right now and look up the last week, the last 6 weeks, the last year, every song I've listened to, how much. It's the greatest thing.
But you also pay for Spotify, right?
Yes, I forgot. I technically don't
3.
because I'm on somebody's account.
Don't tell them.
But
Well, now they know. Oh, well.
no, they know.
Oh, so it's a she?
Yeah, well, it's Trent's mom. Me, him, her, and Trent are all on the same.
So your Spotify Wrapped, is that influenced by her?
No.
Oh, so it's just
no. Yeah, it's completely separate because we all have our own separate.
It's like a
account.
family account
gotcha.
type
Yeah.
thing.
I
Apple
don't pay
does
for
a
that.
similar thing where you can have like Apple Family, and
Yeah.
to save money, Alex and I like condensed our Apple Music subscriptions to make an Apple Family.
Okay,
so
yeah.
like she has her own profile within Apple Music. I have my own, but it's all one.
Yeah, and I could like
subscription.
integrate mine with Megan or Trent or whoever.
Yeah.
And, like we can jam together and like my mom, it makes a playlist that combines my mom's music with mine.
Oh, that's fun.
So she'll be like, "Oh, I could tell you were in a great mood this week," and I was like, "Trust me, like the heavier doesn't always mean I'm in a bad mood, but it doesn't go good with her Josh Groban all the time."
Isn't that funny too? Like sometimes I am like I'm in a perfectly fine, happy mood, but I want to listen to like some hard metal or screamo or like it isn't totally reflective. Now, when I'm like pissed off, sometimes I definitely go to that. Like I think it's almost like a one-way street there, where like if I'm pissed off, I'm not listening to Josh Groban, but I can be happy and listen to both Josh Groban and heavy metal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm the same way. Anytime I'm in a good mood, I'll listen to whatever music. I'd be listening to the saddest music, but because I'm listening to music, I'm in a good mood.
Yeah.
Like I don't listen to good music. I don't listen to music when I'm in a bad mood. You know what I mean?
No?
No.
You've never
Like,
been like super upset and like just thrown off?
No, I was born and raised
something?
emo, so that's just like my default. You know what I mean? So I'll listen to,
I
like
guess, but
yeah.
I don't know. Like I get, and maybe it's like slight age difference, but like those 4 years were like hard screamo music was like more popular, I guess. To where
Yeah, like Skylit Drive,
kind of. I'm thinking more like
Chiodos.
Chiodos was definitely a good example of that. Like even your like Mushroom Head.
Yeah.
Your oh man, what's the other one? Why can't I?
Hold
think?
on, Mushroom Head, I'm back.
Mushroom Head.
And he's back, ladies and
That's the
gentlemen.
one that starts with an S. Why can't
Slipknot?
Slipknot. Thank you.
Yeah.
That was blanking on that. But like those,
I wouldn't
bands,
consider
like,
those sad. I would just consider those like hardcore.
But like
Yeah.
when you're like like I'm not thinking like when you're all like depressed. I'm thinking like when you're like pissed off or like upset, like that kind of emotion. Like that's when I'm throwing on the like screamo music, when I'm like pissed off at my parents for not letting me go out and see whatever and hang out with friends. Like I'm all pissed off. That's when I'm gonna throw on
Yeah.
like the screamo music. But it doesn't go the other way. So like that's the only like emotion that I really correlate with a specific genre.
Yeah. I don't know. Like I can listen to sad music when I'm happy. I can listen to happy music when I'm sad.
What about when you're working out? Don't you want to listen to something
I
like
listen
harder and like more upbeat, more like pissed off music?
No. When
What do you
when
listen
I'm
to, like,
working out,
yoga music or
I
something?
listen to podcasts when I'm working out. I do. I just want to get my mind off it. I usually listen to my Magic the Gathering podcast when
That's
I'm
funny. Then now I will give you this because there was a time period when like was hitting the fan with Iran, where I was like, this is my only time that I can catch up on podcasts and listen to it. So like I was listening to podcasts during working out, but for the most part, it is.
I listen to my
music.
nerd podcast when I'm working out because I don't want to get too hot. I don't want to get too cold. I don't want to like get angry at the news. I don't want to get pumped up that I'm listening to something and increase my heart rate. I just want to be like, oh yeah, this 2-mana blue card is a really good card. I agree with you. Like in standard, it can see play. In modern, it can definitely see play.
So wait, like, are you working out then?
Oh, I'm working out. Yeah.
See, I could see. I would have pictured like jogging on a treadmill or jogging outside, like listening to a podcast. But I wouldn't have guessed that because I feel like music. Like I was always listening to the heavy stuff. You know, because it was like, this is a little bit of extra motivation. It's kind of funny to like, you're like going to listen to Jon Stewart. To get your reps going.
No, the most neutral podcast. What's another one? Like Hardcore History or something I'll listen to. Like Dan Carlin. Like, yeah, I'll listen to something like super flat like that just because like I don't want to get too hot or too cold. You know what I mean? Like when I'm working, I also want to like, I think of something else while I'm doing that because working out's so boring. You know what I mean? When I know
very unique.
When I know the music, I'm just like, I guess I'm almost counting down the minutes in my head when I'm listening to the music. Like this is a 3.5-minute song. I know every single word of it. And it kind of makes the routine more of a routine when I'm doing something that I know the next word of that's going to come out. You know, I know the next word, and I'm counting in my head how many reps I'm doing or whatever.
See, I wasn't always listening to the same song, but that was my distraction from working out. Like, from being boring was just like, I was just thinking about the music, and I just happened to be doing other stuff while I was listening to music.
I guess I just don't I don't want to know what's going to come next when I'm listening to something. I want that to be the surprise because that's what catches my brain and distracts me from other things.
I think that's very unique because I would say that like the average person when they're going to work out wants to get pumped up.
I just want the workout to be over.
Like hot and like let's get it done. Let's like there's an intensity that is incorporated into working out. Well, you hit the not seeing it coming part there pretty well. Yeah, no, I mean that's it. It's working out is an individual experience because you can like. There's people that only run. There's people that are bodybuilders, like we saw at the Arnold. There's people that like working out can definitely be a very unique individual experience, and I just think it's interesting to hear someone's take on it. Like they would rather listen to podcasts than listen to like some pump up music that you find in like every single gym because like that's the same playlist that you hear in every single gym is like not harder metal, but like harder rock and like more.
Well, when I played paintball, I would definitely listen to like hardcore stuff before I played paintball. It's just if I really need to get pumped up.
Well, and I worked at a gym for a little while before.
You worked at a gym
everywhere.
Too?
Yeah, I did work at a gym.
Cleaning it?
Well, okay, yes. I've worked at 2 gyms.
Oh my God. One cleaning.
One was the offices for a company. We'd clean their offices, and then I was there. But I also, this was when I was back in school, I worked at a gym in Medina, but it was like third shift, like, you know. So I was kind of there by myself, so I got to like work out, but it was always like I kept the music going and stuff. But it was always like that they had those lists where it was, you know, the rock stuff, but it was all like Nickelback and Disturbed, and then it was like rock country, pop country. Mm-hmm. But man, so weird, funny story about working there. Like, you don't get a lot of people, but you get some goofballs that come in, and there was this lady who they had to repeatedly tell her until they kicked her out, she had to stop making sex noises when she was lifting because it was making people uncomfortable.
Oh, that's funny.
Yeah. Yeah. At like, 3 in the morning.
Jeez. I've seen a lot of like funny characters at the gym. I've never seen somebody making a bunch of sex noises.
But it was like that
reps.
Exaggerated, like, fake, like, for
like
attention.
the kids, they go, ah!
Yeah.
Like that?
Yeah.
Like these kids.
Before they started doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's attention grab. I mean, you're in the gym. You want everybody to look at you. Like, that's the reason that, like,
I just want to go, and like he said, I want it to be over. I want to go work out. I want to get it done, get it over with.
Yeah. I agree.
Gosh. How funny. All right. Well, let's get to our next talk. We've tangented off of music.
Yeah. Pop culture topics do well in the algorithm. So we're going to talk about Afro Man because it's an interesting story. He's from Ohio, and we think it's going to do well in the algorithm. But it's a hilarious story, actually, and we're all on the side of Afro Man. Look at him.
And
How can you not be on his side?
I saw a meme that said, like, kids are just born knowing Colt 45 and 2 zigzags. And so my stepson Gavin was listening to this the other day, and I had a big chuckle because I thought of that meme where it's like, everybody just knows that song.
Yeah.
And
he's famous for Cause I Got High, right?
that was like the first one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Then
And
Colt 45.
Yeah.
was
So
the
he's a
second
rapper
one.
from Ohio, and he made the news because like I think seven SWAT or 9 cops or whatever like surrounded his house, like busted down his gate, scared his wife and kids because they thought he was drug trafficking and human trafficking or something.
Yeah. But they sure wanted that lemon pound cake.
You might have to fill me in on that because I don't know the whole lore of this, but it's really interesting and it's a fun conversation to talk about. But he just basically, it's like the Streisand effect, right? If you don't know the Streisand effect, it's like Barbra Streisand, right? There was this big erosion piece in the news, and they took a picture of her house, and only like 7 people downloaded that picture of her house, but she made such a big deal about it, and this house was like millions and millions and millions of dollars, and it was like causing the erosion and blah blah blah. So she basically pointed all the attention at her house by making a big deal of it, and it got in the news, and that's why the Streisand effect is what it is. But these cops have to be like a glutton for punishment because they kind of brought it up again, and it's in the news again, and these cops were just being pieces of shit.
Well, because this happened years ago, right?
Yeah, so they're like suing him for hardships because he's making all these rap songs based on all these cops that just broke into his house and busted down his gate and scared his family and everything. So he's totally on the offense right now, shooting shots. So let's hear a little bit from Afro Man here.
Fact, they never should have came to my house in the first place. In fact, if they hadn't have came to my house, they wouldn't have put themselves on the video camera and in my music career. All of this is their fact. All of this is their fault, and they have the audacity to sue me. These people and you are the predators and the victim at the same time.
Yeah.
Whoa.
That's great.
I just
Oh, this ad.
I don't pay for YouTube TV either. You can skip it though, Tom.
We can talk over it.
Under the circumstance that I got freedom of speech, after they run around my house with guns and kick down my door, I got the right to kick a can in my backyard, use my freedom of speech, turn my bad times into a good time. Yes, I do. And I think I'm a sport for doing so.
And he won, by the way.
House, kick down their doors, flip them off on their surveillance cameras, then try to play the victim and sue them.
Amen. I think that about sums it up. He has the freedom of speech to make fun of these officers. They are public officials. They went onto his property, breaking his shit, apparently even disconnected some of the security cameras, which I feel like that should be completely illegal to disable, lawfully put up security cameras around one's own home. I think, and it seems court agrees, he was well within his rights to be making fun of these officers and using the footage of that raid.
Yeah. So he has some bangers from different songs that he bases these officers around, and some of the court some of the court video is just kind of hilarious. The back and forth with these cops and
well, because they're all crying about how it's like ruined their lives and they can't mentally handle it, and it's like they're playing the victim when they're only getting in trouble because this was all on camera and because it's Afro Man.
Right.
If this was random dude down the road,
yeah,
like the cops are going to come in, they're going to take your stuff, and you're going to just bend over.
Yeah.
But one of the biggest things was that there was a cop who was walking through and in the kitchen, and there was a lemon pound cake on his countertop. And so it kind of does a freeze frame where the cop looks back. And just, so I'm going to look at that for that while you guys talk.
Hell yeah. We love on this podcast is taking the power back. You know what I mean? Like having a shitty situation that you had no, you weren't the cause of this shitty situation at all, and making the best of it. Like Tom brought up this beautiful news host, but people were making fun of her weight or whatever, and she literally was reading the comments about her weight in like a comedic way, and it was like we were laughing with her, not at her, because she took all the power back. This is the exact same thing. Like a really shitty situation happened to you, and you're gonna make the best of it. And yeah, let's make money from it, and let's put these people on blast from it, and let's also win a court case when they're crybabies and come, playing the victim at the same time. It's like bullshit. So yeah, put them on blast.
I'm just curious about like the original
like
charge.
the reason why they
like why they actually went. And
that's
like,
a good question.
Well, not only that, but like was there any repercussions for the unlawful invasion? Because I would love it even more if this story was like trying to push the narrative of like you can't do this to the average person too. Because like while it's happening to Afroman and he's able to make music videos and put it on blast the way that he does, which I'm so thankful that he's doing, is that then translating to them not doing this to like you or I?
Well, these cops probably got a slap on the wrist. You know what I mean? Like this was
that's what I'm curious.
This was their
know.
revenge on him because they probably didn't miss a single like week's worth of pay because of this. Like literally,
right? And I believe that, and like the fact that they're like claiming to be victims and now trying to sue them, like it makes me want like, was there any
probably
kind
not
of repercussion?
Probably
because
no.
What are we reading here, Tom?
Half a dozen gun-wielding law enforcement officers from the Adams County Sheriff's Office deputies kicking down his door, combing through his CD collections, going through his suit pockets, flipping through a wad of cash. I think they did take a couple $100. In one case, briefly getting distracted by a cake dish on the counter. I wish we could play his music, but look that song up. Pound Cake.
They took $400 in cash.
400, yeah.
So
like,
but
family.
Why though? Like, why were they there? What did they think he was doing? Like, was
bad
it
intel,
drug smuggling,
bad intel,
or
yeah? And if you don't know him, it's Because I Got High, his song that he released. Great song, banger. Yeah. Afroman from Ohio. So the lyrics of Lemon Pound Cake.
You really got to look this video up. Like, if we got to put a link down here or something, like. You really got to watch this. It's hilarious.
Lemon Pound Cake. He wanted to put down his Glock. Lemon Pound Cake. Trending on TikTok. Lemon Pound Cake. He's a family guy. Lemon Pound Cake. Got the munchies because he got high. Lemon Pound Cake. Pound Cake.
Oh my gosh.
He's an Adams County. He's Adams County sheriff. He's hungry and he's big as hell. He was sniffing for weed. Then he smelled another smell. What's that? Mama's lemon pound cake. It tastes so nice. It made the sheriff want to put down his gun and cut him a slice. I love it. That's great.
Gosh.
Again, taking all the power back. You know what I mean? They can't do shit about it, dude. You're making art from your own experience that you were unjustly accused of something you didn't do. So,
but they've been crying on the stand, playing victim as if they've been, and I get like in the social media age, one of them was like, well, my daughter's being bullied by some other girl. And it's like, that sucks. But like Afroman said, if you didn't bust into my house and if you didn't cut my cameras and if you didn't steal my, like, you would have nothing to be made fun of.
What's freedom of speech for? What, like literally, what is freedom of speech for? And if I was like a juror on that stand, I would be like, if this isn't freedom of speech, then what is? I don't get it. Like, if he can't do what he did, then where does freedom of speech stop? Because now I'm confused. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I guess I just don't know where, like, at what line does taking accountability for your actions get crossed? Like, he's talking about his kid getting bullied, but like, take responsibility for what you did. That's part of it. Like, in today's day and age, you have to know that anything you do or say can and will be put on the internet. Like, if you didn't want that as a result, then you shouldn't have been doing something so up in the first place. Like, I have no sympathy for those individuals. And I don't know.
So the verdict just came down like recently, which is why we're bringing up this story. But Afroman, who's Joseph Foreman, this is his Christian name, was not punished, but rather won a civil lawsuit against law enforcement in March 2026. 7 Ohio deputies sued him for using footage of their 2022 raid on his home in his music videos. Again, that's his footage from his home. Show me where.
That was probably where they got their frustration, was using video of them and embarrassing them. But
Yeah.
like you're right, like that was his footage on his
Right.
camera.
If someone
Shouldn't have
wanted
been
to
somewhere
use,
you shouldn't have been.
if someone wanted to use something, I don't want to give you guys ideas or anything. If someone wanted to use something from this podcast to embarrass me, I'm not going to sue you for it. You know what I mean? Like you have
But
the
like at
creative
same
freedom
time,
to.
But like at the same time, you couldn't. Like it.
Well, yeah, because the jury also believe that too.
Right, and that's what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Like it's so silly to think that if I don't know, I think it's all ridiculous. So I totally agree with the jury in this case in agreeing that these individuals should be not given anything for their troubles in this event.
Yeah, total Streisand effect. Because we would never be talking about this if the cops didn't try to sue him for.
No,
you
but
know,
like at the same time, we wouldn't be talking to bring it back to my first point. Like we wouldn't be talking about this if it happened to Tom, like, or if it happened to you or me. It wouldn't have made the news. Like if it was a wrongful raid, like that doesn't hit the news the same way that Afroman's house getting raided does. So I'm hoping that this brings some attention to this overall it shouldn't be happening kind of thing. Like I hope that it does that because I'm so for the way that this ended up, and I can rarely say that when it comes to our
probably
judicial system.
in terms of like Adams County thinking twice about busting down a gate or something like that. They probably will think twice about this. Chances are the cops only got a slap on the wrist, but hopefully the county sheriffs will think twice about just like the intel they get and stuff like that. So
yeah.
Do I want to hit one more topic, or do we want to? What do we want to do?
I think we can do because we have one last topic.
Okay.
So I think we can get through it real quick.
So one more thing we were talking about before hitting record on all these cameras was we just randomly got on the topic of like our seventh. You went to DC
Seventh grade.
Okay, so I thought it was 8th grade field trips to DC, but apparently they extended it to the 7th graders as well. But a lot of us, most of us, have gone a trip to DC in grade school, and we're kind of sharing our stories, and we'll save it for the pod because they're pretty interesting. Our experience going to DC in like 7th or 8th grade.
Yeah.
Who wants to start?
I actually I can start because I just had the memory that it just made me laugh so hard in my head. We were staying at the hotel, right, as you would on these experiences. It's like not relative to like Washington.
Because you would take a
DC
big
at all.
bus with all your classmates,
Yeah, you take a big bus. You can play like a movie. There was a movie on the bus, and like you drove down, and we stayed in the hotel. But I remember on the last night,
you didn't want to sit next to a girl. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like God forbid.
Right.
Wait, did they tell you at the hotel that they put tape on the
Yes.
outside?
Oh
of the
yeah,
door?
dude. I want to get to that. I want to get to that.
Yes. So
comment below if you experience these same things because I think it's universal somehow.
So
tape on the.
We had like a dance on the last night where all of the people that were there, we got together in like one of the convention rooms or whatever, like the one the ball, like what we do weddings in essentially. And they would have like this little karaoke machine or a speaker,
Like
or
a school
something.
dance, like an impromptu school dance at a DC.
It was
trip?
but it was only
You were
for
the same way?
It was only for the 7th graders, and
Ours was better.
Oh my god. It brings me to flashbacks of the episode of The Office where Andy does the dance move and stabs himself with the keys, and they have like that little like party going on. Like that's what it felt like in 7th grade. Like you were like it was the weirdest like dance where it was only the people in your grade, only the people that like could afford or went on the trip.
Yeah.
And you had like your little cliques, and it was just a super weird experience, but it makes me think of the episode of The Office.
Weird. You had a little dance.
Yeah.
So that's funny because mine reminds me of another episode of The Office where they're on the boat because we went on the Potomac and we were on like
Oh, the booze cruise.
Yeah. But we were on like whatever's in Cleveland is like the good time or whatever. But we were on there and we ate dinner and then we had a dance on the boat. But I think
that's
like
funny.
In DC? What
Yeah. We were going on the river.
you guys were doing?
Yeah, we did a lot of cool
funny.
stuff. So, but like this was they played.
Hashtag public schools.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I went to a private school.
That's
Yeah,
exactly
so you
what
got
it
a
is.
better education. We got a better DC trip.
We got dances, motherfucker. You got education, we got dances.
Yeah, and the song, they weren't playing anything
Wow.
like heavy, but like tub thumping came on, and we used anything as an excuse to like have a mosh pit. So
Okay.
like they had to stop the music and tell us like we're on a boat. You can't have a mosh pit to Chumbawamba on a boat.
Oh my god!
is
So you
so
guys
funny.
had dances. So were you in 8th grade or 7th grade?
It was 8th grade for me.
So
Okay, 8th
my
grade.
school did 7th grade and 8th grade. They were just different locations. So the 7th grade was Washington D.C. and 8th grade was Philadelphia. So I decided to go on the 7th grade. My parents told me to pick one. They were like, "We're not sending you on both." So I picked Washington D.C. in 7th grade, and then in 8th grade got to sit back with all the kids that didn't go on the trip and like just go to school and sit in the room, not get taught anything, and
Yeah.
go home. So.
Wow. Well, my experience is quite different. No.
What did you learn on your trip?
I feel like that SNL skit where there's like a hillbilly like chick or whatever, like they both get abducted by aliens and one has a great experience, the other was like, yeah, that was not what happened to me.
The one's got a cigarette the whole time.
Yeah. We'll put a image down there, but
God, I love SNL.
no, no, I didn't have a bad experience, but we didn't have a dance or anything, but it was pretty standard. We went on a bus, you know, I think we saw the movie or whatever, but I was telling you guys before this, I'm gonna have to dig through, and if I can find, I'll find at least one. I know I can find. I'll throw a picture right here. I actually have photos from the DC tour or DC trip when
that's
I was in
great.
8th grade, so I'll throw one here if I can find two. I'm gonna have to dig through them. But what I remember the most, I'm such a nerd. I do remember that the teachers were like, we're gonna put tape on your doors,
Yup.
and if you leave or whatever, we're gonna know because of the tape. So we were all scared, and they even said that they were gonna like be out in the hallways until like 1 or 2 a.m.
Oh,
or
yeah.
something like that. In
And
chairs.
it's so funny to think like now as like adults, like we would totally tell a bunch of 7th and 8th graders that and then go to bed at like
Yeah.
10 o'clock and be like,
Yeah.
those motherfuckers aren't going to leave their
Fucking
room
idiots.
at all. Yeah, they're terrified right now.
Yeah.
They're going to find ways to get in trouble in their room, but they won't leave.
But this was this was how big of a nerd I was then, because I was so pumped the entire time. Me and my 2 or 3 buddies were gonna have a Magic the Gathering tournament in our hotel room, and we all brought like some money as like an entry fee, you know what I
that's
mean, and just had our
funny.
decks, and we all like played Magic all night, and I'm sure we were playing it wrong or whatever, but we all had our Magic the Gathering cards, and I remember that was like the pinnacle of the DC tour. I don't remember anything else but like playing Magic the Gathering with my friends, like on like the hotel bed, and like I don't know, it was just so much fun, you know, like that was my experience.
See, for me, but that's fun too, and it's
No Chumbawamba.
you're missing out. But
We need to recreate a Washington, D.C. trip where we have a dance in a hotel with you.
yeah, you could relive what you never lived.
Yes.
But it was, that was one of those things, like, I didn't get to stay at friends' houses a lot. It was kind of like my first,
Like sleepover.
freedom,
Yeah.
right? So, like, and I was with kids who were doing, they brought, like, squirt guns because it was a little bit earlier back in the day, and they didn't believe the whole tape thing, but I was paranoid and believed it. But I just remember, like, just running around, just being able to hang out. It was the first time I'd ever seen HBO, like, at all.
Yeah.
So, like, going to bed, and then it's like, oh, Howard Stern Private Parts is now playing. And it was
wow.
like, this is nothing that I was experienced with.
And you're like, wait, this exists?
Yeah, and it was,
Yeah.
so it was weird, but, like, we kind of doing the whole things as the groups. I remember I had all my money, and I spent it on an Allen Iverson jersey at the mall.
Wow.
And then I was all jealous because everybody else was buying fake Oakleys on the street and like Tommy Hilfiger
funny.
lanyards from like just random people.
Oh my
Yeah, the
God.
random like carts that
yeah,
they have.
yeah. So
Yeah.
everybody starts showing up with
The drip.
Oakleys and Tommy Hilfiger. And
funny.
I was glad I got that Iverson jersey, but man,
That sounds like the best. Yeah.
yeah, I was excited because I had wanted one for a long time. And, there was another story I tell, and it's kind of weird, but there was this kid, right? I'm not going to say his name. He'll never see this. But we were on the second floor, right? We're all hanging out, eating. It's kind of like that in-between time before, like, we got to eat at the mall. We did a little shopping, and they're getting ready to go. And he was leaning over the ledge, just scratching his head, watching all his dandruff fall
Oh my god.
onto the people below.
Repulsive. Oh my god.
And we're just looking and we're just like, what are you doing? Yeah. And so, and like, that's another memory. But as far as like the other stuff, it was super cool. I remember the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier.
I remember
to
the
switch gears.
presentation.
Yeah.
Where they switched soldiers.
Yeah. And that was something like we've talked about before, growing up, always like dreaming of being a military guy and stuff like that. Seeing that was like one of the coolest, most reverent experiences. And it made you feel so patriotic. And especially as a kid, like it just made you feel something that you hadn't felt before.
Yeah.
Do you think it was like a brainwashing experiment? Now that I look back on it, like you're gonna love
Maybe.
this country, you're gonna
He's like,
die for this country.
Junior definitely started
But
7th
that was
grade.
all things. I mean, there was all the other, it was the Smithsonian was super
Yeah,
cool.
I guess so.
So it was
I
kind
guess
of that whole...
That's the alcohol talking a little bit.
James,
Do you think they're brainwashing us on these 8th grade DC trips?
I mean, I question everything now. With,
Yeah, for sure.
Whatever. But
Yeah.
but no, that was a good time, and it was like I said, it was one of those first like real feelings of freedom because there was no parents, there was
Yeah.
a couple chaperones, and it was a lot of fun.
Dude, sleepovers were the best. Have you guys you all experienced sleepovers as kids?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because I remember I had a Korean whatever, he was Korean, and what?
It's just the way you're brain jumbled there.
Yeah, but it was like a different culture. So it took him a couple years for his family be comfortable with him sleeping over. He was we were best friends right away. We're best friends, and he was best friends with my best friends. We're best friends, but he couldn't sleep over our house. I don't think he ever actually slept over our house. Now that I think about it, but I remember going over his house and you could tell they ate nothing but actual Korean food and traditional things. And his mom would just she's like, "Oh, your white friend's coming over. I'm gonna put in chicken nuggets." You know what I mean? And I could tell he's like, "Oh, I get to eat chicken nuggets today," because because her house would smell wild. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
I didn't give a I still don't give it. I don't give a shit. But I remember it would definitely smell like the house would smell different than all the other houses I went to, and you would have to take your shoes off right away. You'd have to take them off. And we'd go up there and play Zelda, Majora's Mask, and all this stuff. He was a really good friend, even in some parts of high school. But but I remember, yeah, it would be these treats for him that when I came over, it would just be different food, I guess. I don't know where I was going with that. Where was I going with that?
I don't know. I do.
Oh, sleepovers. Yeah. So he wasn't able to sleep over our house, and it was kind of a bummer. So sorry, what are you gonna say?
No, I do have a somewhat sleepover story where my freshman year I slept over at a friend's house, and I remember I watched Saw 3 for the first time. We got 3/4 of the way through it, and then got a text from a woman who had lived in the same neighborhood and was like, "Let's hang out."
Lady of the night.
We decided to sneak out of the house, and while walking down the street, of course, a cop car patrolled by. We did the whole run and hide in the bushes and things, and
Obviously act suspicious as
right
walking down the street singing,
I was
gonna run from the cops now, baby.
I was 15 years old, looked very much 15 years old at 2 a.m, and then got busted. Cop put us in the car, took us back to his parents' house, and then his mom freaked out so bad that she called my parents and had them come and pick me up at 2:30 in the morning then. And my parents were like, "Well, since we can't trust you, you're never spending the night at another friend's house." That is just cut. If you want to have friends over, you can stay at our house. They are more than welcome to come spend the night over here. You guys can play video games and do stuff, but you're never going anywhere else. So my entire high school career, that was the limitation. I couldn't stay overnight
And you said you were a
anywhere
freshman,
else.
right?
Yeah, I was a early
that
freshman. This was like in the fall time, like barely a freshman. This happened
Because like every weekend or every
And-
other weekend, I'd be spending the night. You know what I mean?
That was the one thing. So then everything
Lost
just
trust right away.
Well, everything turned into like we just have to do bad things at my house.
Yeah.
We just have to find a way to like escape from my house.
God
now.
bless.
But like that was the one sleepover experience that I had that was like, oh, we fucked up everything.
Yeah.
With that one experience.
I had a few friends that I got to stay the night at, and a few that I had a similar experience to you where I got in trouble. But when you were talking about your friend from Korea, one of my best friends for a couple years, his whole family was from Iraq. And so I kind of had that similar thing where I was
different
over.
culture.
Yeah, and I was over all the time and you know, eating with them and hanging out with them and going to their family events and hanging out. And it would always be funny because, you know, he had kind of like an English version of his name. But then when his family was around, they were like, you got to try to say it like this.
Yeah.
And I could never like roll my tongue to make it sound right. So I would just never call him by his name when his family was around. But it was that interesting thing of like, hey, my white friend is coming over this time, and we're gonna like play to that whole uncultured.
It's like you can't even as like a 8-year-old. It's like you can't get past me. But I don't think he'll ever see this. And if he does, like, you know, he was my friend, David, but his name is Jung Hoon, David Yang, Jung Hoon Yang. So yeah, but I was always like really fascinated. He never talked about his culture or anything like that. But I remember like in the back of my head, I was always like fascinated, like about like what happens. Like no passing of judgment whatsoever. I was just like, I kind of want to like learn about like what a day in the life, you know, being you is.
It's kind of similar to like how we were just talking about our first jobs and like the exposure to like what the real world was when you were around.
Right, you
those
get
other
glimpses
people.
of it
And, like,
a little bit.
That
as
was
a
his
kid.
life going to school every day.
Yeah.
Like compared to what like their traditions were at home. Not that they were better or worse, just that they were different.
Right.
So like having you over brought like a little bit of that world into their home.
Because we didn't have the internet, we weren't immersed into other areas like we are now.
Right.
So it really like sparked your curiosity when you like smelled and looked and things were different and you just wanted to know.
Like I
what's
didn't
going
know.
on.
I didn't walk into any like traditionally Asian like houses growing up. Like I only ever knew those things from like. I mean, just because it was my experience, like what the Chinese food store, like as far as smells go, and like that was about my exposure outside of seeing things online. And like it wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for the internet for me, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's just a crazy thing to think about a little bit.
Like a step up from, since we're going on like sleepovers and stuff like that as kids, a step up from that was Little Sibs in college. I remember the very first Little Sibs I was still in grade school, and it was Brent. He was at the University of Akron. And I remember feeling so fucking cool, but this is a wild story. This is actually a pretty interesting story. So there was Little Sibs. I was still in grade school. And when I went for the first night in Little Sibs, I said goodbye to my mom. You know, I got in Brent's car, and I was going to be there for 2 nights, 3 days, whatever, at the University of Akron as a child. And the base, maybe like an hour or two after he picked me up, my voice changed entirely to what it is now. I couldn't talk for maybe a day, you know? Like
really?
Pretty soon after he picked me up, I couldn't talk. Like my voice just went. And so while this was happening, I was just, you know, because it didn't matter if I could talk or not, right? Like Brent was the main stage. Like I'm gonna learn from him. Like just do whatever. I'm just hanging out. I'm just a fly on the wall. Like you're the coolest person in the entire universe, right? During this time, because I looked up to him like immensely growing up. It's kind of who I am today. So this was like really like a big deal for me. And I didn't care how bad I was feeling, that I was, you know, lost my voice going through puberty or whatever during this time. Yeah. And so like the first night they were playing Warcraft 3, like on all the computers and stuff like that. Yeah. There was like 3 or 4 computers in his dorm room, and this is like during the time of like LAN parties. Like you didn't really play online, but you played with people that, you know, are in the same room as you online. Yeah. So I thought that was the coolest thing. And I was like learning all about these video games he was playing and loving it. And then the next night, I thought I was the coolest motherfucker in the world, because we were at Steak and Shake at like 11 or 11:30 at night. ordering burgers, drinks, like I'm in Pulp Fiction or something. And one of my favorite movies, Boondock Saints, we watched right before we went out.
Okay.
So like it was fuck that, and I was like, oh hell yeah, like whatever, I'm with the boys. And we were at Steak and Shake at like 11:30, and I remember his buddy rolling cigarettes at the table. And I was like, dude, I was like looking over, I was like, is cops coming? Like, are we gonna get busted? You know what I mean? Like Steak and Shake 11:30, he was just rolling cigarettes. And then I think the half of the last day or whatever, I could finally talk. And I remember when he dropped me off at my parents' house, and I was talking to my mom, and she's like, "What the fuck happened? Like,
how much scotch did you drink?"
Yeah, I was like, "What happened in those 2 nights and 3 days?" Now I sound like I'm like, "Hi, Mom." Like now I am now, and like like there was one day I couldn't talk, and then the next day I have the voice I have now, and she's like, "What the fuck happened?" And it was just like the weirdest time to like go through that stage when you're like with like one of your like role models or whatever, and who you want to be, and you're spending the weekend with them, and it was just like this most unique experience. But it was like one of those sleepovers to the next level, the little Sibs night. Like that's crazy in a college. Yeah, when you're in grade school, going through puberty, it's nuts.
That is wild.
Yeah, it was an interesting story. I thought I'd share that.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it. That was fun.
So Tom, do you have anyone have anything else to wind this down?
I don't think so, unless you do, Tom.
Washington, D.C. was when I found out that if you take stuff out of the mini fridge, they'll charge you for it.
How much did you run your school up?
We don't know because...
Well, there's M&M's. There's a...
No, there's
a Pepsi.
They had mini fridges with alcohol in our room.
Yeah.
No.
Oh, that's brilliant.
Tell me you did not.
Oh, of course they did.
I did not.
What do you mean?
But
I would have definitely drank them.
We tried a couple. Like I don't even know if I'd ever had alcohol at that point. But it was like, we got HBO. What else we gotta do? And so we're just like, oh well, we'll try it, and then we'll fill it up with water and put it back in. And we got a little busted. We got out of it somehow. I don't know how. But yeah, they will definitely charge you for everything. And
I want to know how you got out of that, because now, dude,
I think we just like put it back in, and they went and counted it, and I have no idea. Because there's no reason we should have got away with it.
Well, there's seals on those little bottles, right?
Yeah.
You crack the seal.
That doesn't matter when you're in 8th grade.
No,
it doesn't. It doesn't matter for them, but for the people that want the little shot of bourbon.
We did that and ran around with squirt gun fights, and the tape thing was not true.
It was a different
It definitely is Jackson and Hudson. They will put tape on your doors.
Oh, that's good.
Oh my god.
I love that.
All right, do we have a segment to close it out, or are we?
Yeah, absolutely. We always do.
Let's see if.
So I had something else in mind. Okay, this might.
A brief conversation.
Give me that. All right, let me get this set up because it's going to do an advertisement. And you know how it mutes.
Yeah, I don't pay for subscriptions.
So I had something else in mind, but when you start talking about training videos and your time at Subway, this is. I don't know if you've seen it, but if you have, you're going to watch it again.
I don't think I have.
And serving guests. Start a brief conversation.
Give me that.
You might ask something like this.
Have you tried the lasagna? It's my favorite. Just the roast beef, please.
Or this.
Is it still hot out there?
I
Yeah.
love this.
What?
Or this.
Did you see that huge mess in the men's bathroom? I think it was from a trans person. Dude, please?
Or this.
So what kind of freaky shit do you and your wife do in the bedroom? Why is this happening?
Or this.
Do you believe in second chances for murderers? Bro, my phone is in my pocket. You are ruining my algorithm as we speak. If you put enough salt and pepper on human meat, it tastes just like roast beef. What? Fuck it, I'll take the lasagna. What the hell was that, Bobby? Normal conversations. This is a buffet, not Craigslist. Normal.
Don't forget to hold quick conversations with our younger guests, too. So start conversations with children by saying something like this.
Do you know I got kicked out of the Barbie movie?
Or this.
Do you know what a restraining order is? Shit.
Or this.
Do you like gladiator movies?
Or this.
Can I please hit your vape? Daddy's feigning. Or this. Do you think adults should have Snapchat? Anyways, you should add me on Snapchat. Or this. Do you know where I can score some coke?
Or this.
Do you think pedophiles know about midgets?
Or this.
Why do people make it feel illegal to have a foot fetish? I bet those shoes hurt. You can take them off if you'd like.
Hey, do me a favor and never talk to my kid again, okay? Lasagna was good, though. Hey, you didn't eat any of that roast beef, did you?
All right.
All right, so I have a question. That's hilarious, but I have a question about this. So
Yes, Tom thinks it's real.
No. Is this an actual real video? Because I feel like I've seen him, and it wasn't this spoof. Is this AI on an old video?
I think this is a comedian.
No, I don't know anymore. Do you
What are you
have the
doing,
original?
Tom?
Is there an original? Oh, yeah, dude, I'm right. Hell yeah.
So yeah, it's definitely, that was like an AI version.
Yes.
But it is like this is all so silly, and it's a old country buffet training videos, but it's like they're real videos,
Yeah.
but they're so awkward.
This might be just as funny, though,
Yeah,
right? Yeah,
yeah.
let's play this one. Because this is the real one. I know I saw the real one.
It's my favorite.
Give
Did
me
you
that.
catch a game last night? Is it still hot out there? Do you like hot fudge sundaes?
Oh my god.
This is better. So
I have never
saw
seen
that.
any of this.
I saw that one, and then when he showed me these ones, I was like, "There's no way that it cut before he said this." But dude, AI is fucking crazy. We talked about AI in our last episode,
Yeah.
a little bit. So if you haven't seen that episode, we do kind of a deeper dive into like, I know the news is changing every day, but the most current things that was happening in AI that week. But yeah, when you showed me that, I was like, the first one was, I think it was just playing regular, but dude, that is hilarious. Dude, AI, especially with older, like lower quality videos, they can really just like turn it on, and all of like the imperfections of AI are just like washed away in like the old footage.
Well,
look.
because you're not comparing it to 4K.
Right.
You're comparing it to 480.
Yeah,
Right.
for it.
Even
You
the
know?
audio and stuff is just kind of like, it was not muffled, but it was just
Lower
static.
quality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
staticky.
But this is originally like a 10-minute video, and then they even have like Bob Odenkirk does some stuff with Jimmy Kimmel, and they do fun. It's just hilarious. But yeah, even the AI, it's so funny. But like you said, you couldn't even tell at first.
Right,
It was
right.
like and then it was like halfway through, it was like, wait a second.
Well,
they wouldn't put that in their
yeah,
video.
and like I was totally fooled just thinking, like literally watching it, I was like, this is a spoof, obviously, like this isn't real, but I thought it was just a comedian.
It was based off
doing it.
based off real footage, and
And
the,
the
AI,
fact that, that it's all AI I didn't think it was AI generated. I thought it was just another comedian doing a spoof. That's hilarious.
dude, AI.
But they even have like funny like old Wendy's 80s training videos where they're rapping like 80s people, and it's just all that cringy stuff
yeah.
that you had to watch.
That is funny.
Damn.
Well, that was a great little
I did enjoy that one.
little switcheroo you did there.
Yeah, because it kind of.
mid-episode.
I was like, oh, I know what's gonna happen because I've seen that, but I didn't see the AI rendition of it, and then it kind of took me through a roller coaster ride there. So
No, that was great. That was awesome. All right.
well, I think the drinks are running low.
Yeah,
Time
yeah.
is nigh.
I think it's time to ask anyone that's made it this long, if you haven't already, to hit that subscribe button. As we said earlier, we've broke the 1,000 subscriber milestone. We're
Thank
aiming
you.
for 1,100 next.
1100 is our next goal.
And yeah, could not be more excited. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for the support. Check out the Hangout Culture on Instagram, as well as the X account that we have going
Under Inman Productions, but yeah.
Yes, under Inman Productions, but we're still working out kinks. We'll end up getting everything.
Same.
Yeah, it's all the same. So thank you guys, and hopefully you have had a great week. We'll see you next week.
Thanks for the hangout, guys.
See you guys.
Dude, I can't wait to wear a tank top. Be like,
So, well, I've never been a tank top wearing kind of guy.
I got wear tank
I
tops.
like tank tops.
So I
I'll
was
definitely wear tank
mowing
tops.
the lawn when I was probably in like middle school, and I had one of those that was like cut super low, like real weirdly low, like 90s style, and I was doing something, and then a car full of girls like beeped and went by, and I got so self-conscious that I never wore a tank top again.
They were beeping because they liked it.
I should have had the opposite effect, right? Like I sabotage myself when
For
it
some
comes
reason,
to
a young
everything.
Tom, I only see a young Tom in a tank top.
Yeah, or like a cutoff of some sort.
Yeah, no, that ruined it for me. So in DC, I also found out there's a show called Taxi Cab Confessions.
I turned gay in the 7th grade.
No, you said that when you said you were playing Magic.
You don't have to come out twice.
Yeah, we were going partying. You were playing card games.
You never said you were dancing with girls. I never heard he was like, yeah, so I was actually dancing with Susie.
Girls don't dance the Chumbawamba.